Hello.
Hello.
New
Can you hear
intro.
me? Rini is now a black Texan. And now we proceed with the show as we normally do. We got Ken here, special guest. Oh, look at Rini right as we get started. We're live, by the way. Do not say anything that
Yeah.
you might have.
Oh,
Don't talk.
dear.
No
Oh dear, all the
swearing.
secrets that I've been keeping and I must be quiet about now. Hello.
Hello.
I'm trying to
Hello,
be
everyone.
conscious about talking a little more directly into my mic. Hopefully this. Let me know in
Yeah.
the chat if it sounds okay or whatever.
Do I sound okay? Because I have a problem not talking to my mic as well.
Yeah.
No, it's not good.
Well, like
Cool.
you're talking into the mic.
Yeah, amazing. It's like this new skill I acquired.
I have tea. I was brought tea.
You're having a high tea evening.
Yeah, so it's like warm out, and then in my room it's even warmer because it's like I don't have a big air conditioner. I just got this window fan, and so my girlfriend's like, "You should drink some hot tea."
You all disputed
Pretty.
my logic when it comes to hot tea on a hot day. Remember, I brought this up before.
I still don't believe it. She's like, "You want some tea?" I'm like,
Your girlfriend
Maybe.
believes in it. Apparently, if you
Like, it's
raise
warm in
the
here.
core temperature up so you're warmer, like at your core, then being the heat around you won't feel like such a big deal. It's all contrast,
sounds-
Phil.
Really dumb.
"It sounds like it won't make sense," but I'll try it. It's really hot right now.
She just wants to boil you alive
Yeah,
from the inside out.
that makes sense.
So you raise your body temperature. That just means you'll still feel hot.
It means the
Make it
predator
feel
can
hot.
see you that much easier.
That means the suffering comes from internally instead of
It means-
externally.
Doesn't all suffering come from the internal, Irene?
Yeah, that's true.
Not if you're
That's
being
true,
whipped.
right.
Uh-oh.
A straight, hard man, masculine male like me.
You're being whipped. It's external suffering.
No.
Phil, are you
Well-
the kind of guy where if it's hot tea, you want it cold, and if it's cold, you want it hot?
Yeah. I don't know if I
Just
should
never
grab some-
satisfied. It's
It
instead
smells
of the grass is always greener, the tea is always colder.
That's right. What's up, everybody in the chat? Welcome to the show. It's
Mhm.
Thursday.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry for absolutely no ceremony whatsoever.
And no tradition.
Yeah, this week I threw Ken to the wolves. I messaged him yesterday because he messaged me and he's like, I read a new writing book and we should talk about it. And I'm like, well, let's just talk about it on Creative Block because that's what we do anyway. And he's like, sweet. And then I was like, all right, you're going to do a book report tomorrow, prepare some slides. He's like, what? I was like, that's what we always do. And he's like, okay. So I don't know. It's okay if you don't have anything even, Ken. I don't know. But do you have anything or?
Yeah, I
what are
have
you
some
thinking?
stuff.
Nice.
Oh my god, he prepared.
Ken,
Let's
you
go.
should
And I-
All of our weeks.
well, before that, because Narwhal asked Ken if he was familiar with me, and Ken and I just happenstancely ran into each other because he's buddies with Nick Patera, who we're buddies with, and I was talking to Nick, and Ken was at his place one time, but Nick has my comics that I've written, and Nick will probably refuse to read them. So next time you see Nick, just tell him to give you my books so you could check them out.
Yeah, steal them
Nice.
from Nick.
Yeah.
Yep. What's up, Vaughn?
Phil says these are mine now.
Hello,
Yeah.
Ken. Nice to meet you. I popped in a little late, so here is my formal hello.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Pleasant to make your
Icon.
acquaintance, sir. Narwhal's
Yeah.
friend, and apparently
Yeah,
Phil's as well.
he's like sick in bed with tubes in a skin and like a gas mask on, so she doesn't really go on camera anymore.
Yeah.
That sounds
I'm
serious.
dying.
It's hell
a
in there.
mess. Warts
It's
all
like
over my
a-
face.
You got cholera. I watched a movie about cholera the other day.
Just imagine
I
like
don't
a
even know what
Ghost
that
in the
is.
Shell, Ghost in the Shell splash page, and that's what Irene has to deal with right now. It's a bunch of
I mean,
tubes
I'm okay
on-
with that.
Cholera is a Chinese disease, Rini. You gotta
Yeah.
learn.
Everything's a
these things.
Chinese disease. Like, there's a theory that the Black Plague started in China. Like,
Oh my
there's a
god!
lot of people. This shit
Oh yeah, COVID
What are they
started
up
in
to
China
over there?
supposedly.
It's like the
through
yellow
the
plague.
Silk Road. Well, yeah, COVID obviously started there. Duh.
I disavow.
You just. I'm allowed to say it, and it is the truth. It as in the truth, because I'm trying.
Well, you can say whatever you want because it's Narwhal's channel and not your channel. So.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna let loose.
Yeah, 18 people here. Thanks everyone. People are still filtering a little bit. We'll get started with Ken's presentation, and the way it usually works, Ken, too, is it just is to kind of it's to sprout like discussion and stuff, and so there's no, we'll just see.
I'm gonna tweet this out. Creative
Oh,
Block.
good idea.
And another, speaking of, there is some ceremony where we have been telling about our weeks.
Okay.
And so, Jake, do you want to go first?
Sure, this week has been a lot of staying inside and working on the same fucking cover for weeks now. I'll show a peek. I didn't finish the inking, but I kind of was going so crazy, I started doing bits of flatting.
Have you started to physically ink it yet?
I think that might not be happening.
All right.
But yeah, I might do it again later. Can you imagine towards the end of the campaign, I'm re-inking the cover and I'm doing it physically.
You're a crazy person.
But that's the problem for future Jake. But yeah, look, I've been doing. You can get a little glimpse of some of the flat colors on this thing.
Blow them up, Narwhal. That
And
looks,
big. Look.
There's a lot of progress done on that.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, but look, basically I'm chickening out on the whole tree that this guy's supposed to be holding on to. I just decided not to draw the tree yet because I keep on redrawing it. But yeah, I just, I can.
But now you need to grayscale it, print it out, and then ink it. And then you can color it for reals.
Yeah, no. I just print this off and then ink this.
And then hand color it.
Yeah.
Yeah, then hand color it with like my blood. But honestly, that's all I've done this week is like work on this. I am surprised by how long it's taking me. I'm kind of annoyed because I've got other stuff to do. Hello. Ready for the campaign, which will be, I did confirm who I'm launching it with, but I don't know if I'm supposed to say yet. Begins with a B. Begins with a big old B.
Wonder who that could be. It's a mystery.
Can take me off big if you'd like.
P.
Thank you. But yeah, so I'm just gearing up for launching Carnal 1, working on that cover. I've been selecting the pages to get finished for the campaign as well. Yeah, I'm going to be working my ass off for the next month. Yeah. 1 month.
October 1st, man.
I don't know. Well, it's not going to be on the 1st. That's the thing. It's probably going to be on the 4th or the 5th now, just because of like people's schedules. But yeah, but still, the start of Cocktober, Create Our Own Comics Tober will launch with Conal the Barbarian. If no one gets in there on the 1st, which I don't think they will. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
You guys should sign up because I just read it, like the tentative final draft, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
Go
I was going to say, people, if you're a mod in the chat, drop some links to carnalcomic.com.
Yes.
People can sign up.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, Irene finally read the actual final version of all the lettered layouts, the final writing, and it's drastically different than the last version you read, and it's way better.
It is a lot better. All this structure talk on this very show has clearly helped. But no, it's a lot of fun. It's a really good first book. Well, you guys are going to love it. It's fucking hilarious, too.
Excited for the
non-stop action. Sign up.
Yeah, that cover looks great. You know what's kind of fun is it looks like truly like just a Cartoon Network show. Like it's not. It looks like it's not like it's like trying to be a Cartoon Network show. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Cartoon Network, but with tits.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and maybe like Cartoon Network from like the glory days, like 2012 or something.
Well, I'm glad you think so. Obviously, all my palettes are like very Futurama inspired, so. Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody
Bemis
sign up.
says, yeah, great aesthetic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Reedy,
no
how about
rescue-
your week?
Oh, my week. Oh, I know you're gonna go to me.
You sound less sick.
Yeah, I am less sick. I was sick pretty much like almost back to back for like 2 months. It was just a cold, but it was really fucking annoying because I caught a cold at Heroes Con in what was it, July? June? I don't remember. July. June. Anyways, it sucked. But I'm all better, and I have been working a lot, and I'm realizing how far back everything has been pushed, and feeling like my whole year has just gone to waste. Except it hasn't, because the thing is, I decided that this year I would work on expanding Fiendish, and which also means I'm not drawing as many pages. I've been doing a lot of work for other people. I've taken on some animation work, and I've been doing like turnarounds that I can't show anyone. I guess it's animation-y. Anyways, but as far as Fiendish goes, I finished the Spanish translation, so that's good.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah, progress is being made. I have started penciling pages, so people who are members on my channel and on the website, you can look forward to a long overdue update soon. I'll be posting some pencils as I finally start working on pages. And yeah, Spanish edition of Fiendish 1 will be out soon, and I'm working on Chinese and Japanese, so I'm excited to show you guys that.
That's crazy. That's awesome. That's going to be awesome. It's something that we want to do down the line too.
Yeah. I went to 656 Comics for the Spanish translation, so they do that. And actually someone just recommended, well, they didn't like put me in contact or anything, but someone just pointed out this like a small publisher that does French translation, so I'm going to reach out to do that. The Japanese translation, by the way, is done. I just need to letter it. So we're translated up to chapter 2. So I'm really hoping that will be a new audience, and of course I'm doing the Chinese translation myself, and that's why it's slow, because take forever. But yeah, I think I think expanding internationally is the way to go. It's not that hard to do, even for indies, so we should do it.
Sweet. Sick.
Nice.
I'm rotating up, so for me, I just have one thing. Is I think I told you guys the last update that I've been working in my what little free time I have. I've been trying to keep writing some Percival stuff, and I'm doing like that TV show style format. So I'm just trying to do basically like the pilot. And I wrote it once, scrapped the entire thing, and I wrote it again, and I reported back to you guys that I was stoked because it seems like it was working out. But then I scrapped it again, so I've started over again on it. So it's take 3 now, which is crazy. But I did get to one thing that I'm like, I'm like, what is it? Because I'm trying to like refine like the magic a little bit. And I was thinking like if it's like this, history-ish thing. But like Conan, they say is like that. Like Robert E. Howard loved history, but didn't want to have to like stick to and do tons of research and make sure everything lined up. So he did pre-flood history or whatever, and he just kind of made it up. But he also knows a lot about the history, so you can kind of pick the names to make them sound good or whatever. So I was inundated on YouTube with some Mesopotamian history for a while, some pre-flood type stuff. And then I started writing it. But what I stumbled on is the town that it takes place in, it was always going to be like a furnace town that has like a furnace in it. And I was like, what are furnaces even used for? And I was like, China used them to pour to pour molds. And they were one of the only ancient cultures that could pour molds, because you have to get extra hot to get bronze or whatever to do that. So that's the idea, that they're a mold pouring furnace town. And there's like a band of marauders who have just stolen a ton of gold, and they're going to have it melted down into their idol instead of the enemy's idol, which that's like a conquistador thing. So it's like combining some of these ideas. But once you combine those ideas, I'm like, okay, there's a lot to work with here. So then I was kind of none of that was there for the first 2 drafts. It's just like no authentic details at all, really. You know, so that's what I've been trying to get, I guess.
That's
I mean,
good.
where are all the tubes and gas mask and stuff gone? You look completely
this is
fine.
actually a very advanced VTube model.
AI.
Yeah, this is AI. Yeah, I
It's
can't
AI
let you
ring.
all. I can't let my image fall. So I need to keep up
AI ring.
appearances.
Noel, when you say you've rewritten it for, whenever you say TV show with this Percival thing, I always think of Xena and Hercules as if you're doing
Yes.
that style of TV show with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I want to know what you mean by TV show script, and also it's interesting to know what didn't work in each of those 3 versions, and what you think is working now compared to them.
Yeah. If we
you
have
want
time
to-
at the end, yeah, maybe we can talk a little more about that. But I know for the show, the main thing I realized, like, oh, this is different than movies. Usually I kind of just write sort of like what I picture like a movie would be or whatever. But but for TV shows, they start and then they have like a hook and then they cut to commercial or they cut to the title screen. So they have like a
Yeah.
cold open, and you got to hook the readers in that first, like, if it's a few minutes of TV, and say you have like 5 or 6 pages of comic.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, then you don't have a good TV show, really. So that was the stuff I was trying to figure out. Is it's just more and more efficient, like heartlessly efficient, either like cutting out some, like you might have a good little cinematic conversation that gets philosophical and be patting yourself on the back. So a lot of like killing your darlings for TV more than cinema, I think, for movies or whatever.
Because it is the one thing about it where, like, if he fucks up, the chalice teleports away from him, right, and it goes home.
Yeah.
See, like, if you were being super formulaic with an episodic Percival TV show,
Yeah.
that would be the ending of every
It's
episode.
like Quantum Leap.
Yeah,
Like, at the end.
it would disappear, and he'd go,
Damn it.
no!
He's about to grab it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Then everybody has to save the girl instead of grabbing it and teleports away or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of the stuff if there's like a structure to it, it reveals itself as I go. But a lot of it's you're just trying to reveal the fun ideas, and you have the concepts with the Grail. So for this one, the original idea was like reverse Yojimbo. So it's, or like the story of David and Goliath, how it's like a proxy war fought as a duel instead of a big battle.
Right.
And then Percival heals one guy, which messes up all the politics of how the war was supposed to go. And so that was the idea, but then it's kind of shifted away from that a little bit. And now the idea, as it is right now, at least, I kind of got to write up to it, but it's that the town that they're in, the furnace, it requires wind to get hot enough to burn real good. And it's always blustery in the canyon, so it works. But when the marauders come and they're kind of like bullies, they kind of invade this town, they're going to force them to melt down their loot. The wind stops. And so they're stuck, and they have a pursuing force after them because they stole all this gold. So they only got like a few days to figure this out. And what their plan is they're going to like sacrifice people until the wind god starts up again.
The wind god.
Yeah, so that kind of is at least now what I'm thinking. So I don't know. And Percival will kind of step in or whatever.
Well,
but
he
it is
first-
like, I try to think of it like Hercules a little bit. Like, it just needs to be an adventure.
That's cool.
The Grail gets utilized in some way, and then blah, blah, blah.
Will Percival
Ooh.
persevere?
Yeah,
Ba-dum-bum.
by Perberg.
Yeah.
That's the title.
Phil, what about you for your week?
Lots of work this week. Today was actually my day off, which was cool. And I got to, this came in this week, the Lucent Painted Death.
I think mine's probably going to come tomorrow. I still don't have mine. I've been checking every single day the shipping information for that book to be delivered. Honestly, I've been checking it every day.
Aw.
So I'm going on Mike's show tomorrow, and I want to read this before I go. So I'm halfway through it, and I'm enjoying it. It's very cinematic. It's paced, I feel like a film, and I'm digging it so far. So I'm excited to finish. I'll finish it tonight, Mike, before I come in on the show. And then besides getting the campaign ready, finalized. Still have a little bit more to do with that, and it'll be ready, people, because we are launching the book tomorrow. People in the chat have been talking about it. I hope you guys all come out to the stream. We're doing Diaz Brothers launch tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern time on my channel, Zaid Comics. And I even got some kick-ass sketch cards in from Dan Dahl, who did, look at these freaking things. Get the crazy close-up on Simon, our slasher character. We got St. George and Crim in the back there. These will be put up throughout the campaign. If you guys ever backed any of our projects on Indiegogo, you know every week we put up like a few new sketch cards from different amazing artists. So that is happening. And then after the launch, we're going over to Bancroft's. And if you share my screen here, Narwhal, some of these will be given away to some early backers while we're live on Bancroft's. These
Look at those.
Yeah, crazy.
Jason's art is so fucking good.
Yeah,
Jason's so good with
awesome job.
And everything is brush. He works in brush too.
Yeah, it's
Damn.
crazy. So there'll be some giveaways tomorrow. If you guys like backing early, we appreciate it. We're trying to make this a bigger launch than our previous campaign, Lost Pages 3. And yeah, Alex in the chat there, early backers, you say. So I finished this up. The campaign is basically ready to roll. And if you guys are signed up, we have discounted perks that we're going to do on the campaign here. And also besides that, I had some downtime. I started plotting out, like bullet pointing for Magic Cop 3, which is our other series. And we're going to get back to that, which my brother draws. And it's super fun. Been brainstorming all this awesome 80s crime action that we're putting into Magic Cop 3. So I got a chance to sit down, bullet point some things, brainstorm, and talk it through with my brother. So we're really excited to do that. So it's going to be awesome. This week has been refreshing. And tomorrow, like I said, big day. Hope everybody comes out. It's going to be awesome.
Good luck.
Nice. Ken, what have you been working on lately?
I've basically been working on issue number 3 of Air Rider, and I went to a convention on the weekend, and I made $48. And I spent it all on
Congratulations! Woo!
Nice.
Yeah.
So did you table at the convention, or were you just backpack selling?
No, I tabled at the convention.
Nice.
And then I spent it all on comics. So
that's how you got
That's
to
how
do
it
it.
goes. Yeah.
yeah. But I've been working on this page from issue number 3 of Air Rider. And it's been taking me a while just to get the perspective on the this group scene just right. And I know I still have a lot of work to do, so it's like later I'm gonna ink it and do all that stuff. But I'm really trying to nail like the sense of place and the lighting so that people can like suspend their disbelief about the setting more.
And it takes place in a high school?
Yep.
Nice. Is that 11 by 17 paper?
Yeah.
Nice. Some people have been drawing bigger than that, is what I've heard. And I don't know, you need an even bigger scanner, I guess. So it's probably like elite a-holes who have $10,000 for a scanner.
Well, actually, Nick draws like that. He draws Axwheeler John like that on like 11 by 17 pages per panel.
Every panel, yeah.
Yeah, he'll just scan those pages in on a 11 by 17 scanner.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that, but then I also hate it. But
yeah, he's insane.
I admire it, I guess you could say.
He's insane, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, 29 people watching. Thanks everyone for being here this week. We have a special guest presentation from Ken. Ken's been reading all the how-to writing books, and you mentioned there was a few that are especially like worth discussing. So,
oh yeah.
Do you want to screen share, Ken, and we can look at your slides and get started, maybe?
Yeah. I actually wrote out a whole thing, but let me.
Pierre, how did you meet Ken?
I kind of forget. We're just being around the scene together. Do you remember, Ken? Like,
I only remember the first show we were on, but not how it came about.
Yeah,
I think it was through
we've been on some
your
How
book
to Writing
Interactivity.
shows. Okay. Yeah. That's right. Because you were reaching out about that because you read that one too.
Right.
And yeah, so you were on some other iterations of like some writing streams. One was with Joe Catapano and you and me, and the other guy. I can't think of his name right now. But I can picture his face.
He does the Ghetto Dragon. His name is Freeman.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget his Julius Freeman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd have seen him in
Nice.
a really long time.
I got it. I got a joke though.
Share. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen.
Look at this. This is a first for the show as well. A guest presenter teaching us the ways of PowerPoint, Google Sheets. I'm excited.
He's gonna put us all to shame because he's taking it so seriously.
Yeah. I don't know how seriously y'all have done it in the past, but this is just a presentation.
It ebbs and flows, towards the front. Pretty serious.
Some take it more seriously than others.
Yeah. It's been 67 shows,
Okay. Nice. Well,
wait, is it
Dramatica? I was
67?
texting Narwhal about Dramatica, the book that I got here. I wonder if y'all can see me at the same time.
Oh yeah, there it is, Dramatica.
Yeah, and I was telling him that it's basically a narrative theory that will allow you to cover all your bases when you're trying to make an argument with your story. So let me get started. I actually wrote down something on the side here, so I'll just be reading from that and then go from there. But it won't drag out too long. I'll make sure it's short. All right. So when I was younger, I'd read stories that were so full and complete that they felt like a full course meal. And then by contrast, I also read some stories that had a lot of nice effects and cool characters and whatnot, but by the end, they didn't really add up to much. And these stories would just sort of fizzle out and leave me wanting more. And so then the great stories came few and far between. But whenever I found one, I'd immediately lock it into my vault of top stories. Let me see. Okay, cool. And it was after reading, what's it called? A Silent Voice and A Fault in Our Stars that I actually began to question how they were doing this. And I was wondering why these stories felt so full. And I wanted to see if I could harness that ability in some way. And so I tried my hand at writing in the past. And it used to take weeks to months to balance all the narrative elements in the story to make sure it all made sense by the end. And I wanted to know if there was a consistent and reliable way to do so over and over with future stories. And so I looked up online, like how to write a complete story in Google. And this article from this website called Narrative First popped up. And so getting into what Dramatica is, it's a narrative theory of story which views story as the process of a single human mind trying to solve a problem. It sees characters not as complex human like living beings, but more as representatives of thematic ideas that are important to the story. And then it basically is a guaranteed way to make sure your stories are always structurally sound, no matter what you write about. And Dramatica proposes that a full, complete story is an argument which is explored from all sides by the end of it.
Yeah.
It classifies anything outside of that as a tale or just a simple sequence of events which you can derive from a variety of meanings. But Dramatica is basically a tool meant to make sure you impart the message that you're trying to leave the reader without it sounding like a lecture or propaganda.
Interesting. Yeah, we've talked about similar things in the past, specifically to the character representation and theme. Like a while ago, I was watching some like a screenwriter, this young like screenwriter YouTuber. I forget his name.
Local
right
Script
now,
Man.
Yeah, Local Script Man.
Uh-huh.
And he was scripting out a horror film. Did you see that video where it's like him and his buddies are trying to make a horror film, and it was basically like a ad libs premise where it's like, what if it's a horror film set on at an amusement park, and it's a haunted pirate ship ride, and the slasher is an animatronic pirate, and he would put a bunch of Post-its on the wall for each character, and he would look at characters and really emphasize that each character should have a different point of view on the theme of the story. And so as you go through the story, the arguments are made by every side, and the side that you are kind of pushing for through the narrative is the one that prevails, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a story becomes like a conflict of philosophies rather than a conflict of like people.
Right. Yeah. I was wondering,
it's really interesting to look at it like that.
Right. Yeah, I was wondering how he actually came to that conclusion, because that's a large part of what Dramatica is.
Is Dramatica like a ancient Greece thing, or is this a 1900s book? Do you know like when it was written or who wrote it?
Nah, I think it was for like 1980 something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like one of the books. Like you could get like Story by Robert McKee, and you could get like
right.
Dramatica.
Yeah, they actually, where is my story? Oh yeah. They actually compare Dramatica to Story. Just to let people know like what the actual like differences are between the two. And I still find Dramatica to be far more comprehensive, but that's what I'm getting to in this slide here. The learning curve is actually really steep for Dramatica. It's not something you just, one day I'll just like get into Dramatica and learn how to write. No, it's like you have to know how to write first, or you have to be into writing first and then slowly work your way into the book and try to integrate some of the things into your writing process. Because if you try to force fit everything that you learn in here into what you're doing, then you'll drive yourself crazy. So
yeah. It's like you read Story first. Story looked thick, and that's funny. But yeah, like you read that one first and then read Dramatica or something.
Right. Let me see. Okay, yeah. So Dramatica is for you basically if you want your readers to feel like it was worth it by the end, like they spent quality time with your story. If you want your story to have a timeless quality and a lasting effect on your audience, if you get stuck balancing your story narratively when you're writing, and you feel like there's something missing that's integral to the story, but you can't quite put your finger on it, it'll help you figure out. It'll help you fill in those gaps in your knowledge. And let's see. Oh yeah, so examples of complete stories would be like the first 10 Pixar movies, which is why they were so successful, so popular, and everyone.
What do you know? What the first one that was bad was? Does anyone remember? But yeah, at some point they stopped being really good. I do remember that.
Was it Robots?
Maybe the little dinosaur.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Well, what would you say, Bear?
I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know which one it was. Yeah.
I don't even know if they did Robots.
I always say that WALL-E was the last good one, so I'll just check out whatever came after WALL-E.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, I think Up came after WALL-E.
Yep.
Okay, I actually argue that Up is a bad Pixar movie.
Oh
really?
God.
No, we've talked about it on the show. There is a huge tonal shift that happens when he launches the balloon. Everyone loves the opening. no one gives a shit about the rest of the film.
I can't remember it. That's like with Wall-E. I can't remember after he leaves the junk planet.
Yeah, I've only seen those movies twice. I've never seen Ratatouille.
They do have another similar tonal swing in where the second half is in Wall-E. Holy shit! Maybe Wall-E isn't very good.
No. Do you guys hear Tarantino recently in an interview? He said that the Toy Story trilogy is the second greatest trilogy of all time, second only to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Man with No Name, Sergio Leone trilogy.
That one's such a loose trilogy. Like Sergio Leone's is barely a trilogy.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what he pointed out is that it's one of the only trilogies where the second one is, even though the first one's really good, the second one is exponentially better than the first. And even though the second is really good, the third is exponentially better than the second.
Right.
That kind of like never happens. Yeah.
That is true.
They did that with Aliens, and then they couldn't finish it. Which I don't know where you'd go. Yeah. You'd go like extra aliens.
They almost did that with Evil Dead, right? Evil Dead 2, and then Army of Darkness.
Yeah, that actually is kind of close. Yeah.
But they're coming out with Toy Story 5 now, so it's like.
I know. That's part of Tarantino's thing. Is he's like Toy Story 4 doesn't even exist.
It's done.
Yeah.
I did hear that.
But yeah, so sorry. Can you continue? What are you saying?
No worries. Oh yeah, and Attack on Titan is a good example of a complete story. Like by the end of it, you get the full effect, you get the full understanding of the thematic point that the author was trying to make.
What happens at the end? Spoil it for me.
Yeah.
All this
and those two, like Attack on Titan's super long, and the other TV show one is long, but then there's movies in there. So yeah, like that's interesting to know that you can do it. You can do the complete meal feeling with. I wonder if you could do it with a short story. I bet you could, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's possible, but I don't know. I always felt like short stories could give you just like a little snippet of something rather than like a full meal.
Yeah.
But the easiest way to The easiest way to get started with Dramatica is to read this like comic book that they made about it. It's like, I don't know how many pages it is, but it's just an easy way to get introduced to the idea of it rather than trying to read this whole thing and be like, oh man, I'm gonna lose my mind. You know what I mean? So yeah, it would be the comic book.
Do they have an audio book?
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, nice. I'm definitely gonna read it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole book is online for free. So if you go to the website dramatica.com, like you can read it, listen to it, all that.
Audiobooks are good.
And so, well, actually, somebody who, one of the experts in the theory, helped develop this cartoon series. But I never actually. I tried to watch the first episode just to see if I could like study something from it, or if I could figure out how they use Dramatica in it. And I was just like, I can't do this. I gotta watch something else.
Yeah,
it's just like it's made for a different audience. You know what I mean? So then, oh yeah, that this would basically be the end of the presentation, unless y'all want to see like the basics of the theory and whatnot.
Well, I want to know what the theory is. I want to know how it works.
Yeah, keep going.
If it can be summarized, like I want to know about it.
Yeah, show me behind the curtain.
We usually do presentations for like an hour, so you can keep going.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I'm not gonna take up a whole hour, but let me. I'll go on now. All right.
Yeah, we usually struggle to as well.
What the? So the basics of the theory is that a complete story, or the way Dramatica sees it, a complete story has 4 concurrent narrative through lines, which each deal with either an external or an internal factor. And the 4 through lines are the main character through line, which would be what the main character experience. It's like a point of view. It's a perspective. So it's the main character, like Walter White, So he's the main character. We're going through his point of view throughout the whole story. And then you have the impact character, somebody who believes something opposite to the main character. Then you have the relationship story, which is what goes through, which is the relationship between the main character and the impact character, and how the argument is argued from both sides of those character perspectives. And then the overall story is the root problem that all the characters are going through in the story, that basically everyone in, let's say, Breaking Bad is dealing with this meth problem, or with this meth drug dealing situation. And so then the domains are the 4 areas which you can assign a through line to. So let's say we're in an action movie. The overall story usually takes place in activity, meaning all the characters are focused on an activity of, let's say, they're trying to get an object, or they're trying to kill somebody, or something like that. But I'm not going to get into the details of it. It gets too complicated. Just know that Dramatica deals with 4s a lot. That's
okay.
the main gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is an impact character always the character that opposes the protagonist? Because I've heard in discussing flat character arcs with other writers, it's come up that sometimes the impact character could also be defined as, well, which character is the one changing, which is the character changing the world, and which is the opposite of that, whatever that term is the character that is static, right?
Right.
So there's 2 opposing forces. One is the changing one is the static one.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the wrong definition of an impact character?
No, that's not the wrong definition. Dramatica actually covers this, and I put that further in the presentation. Let me see. Yeah, so the main character is one of 2 types. Either they're a steadfast character, one who believes in their position until the end of the story, despite the impact character's influence. So that would be most shonen protagonists or superhero characters. They don't change, but the characters around them change. Yep. Or you'll have like a change main character, one who changes his position. Hold on. One who changes his position at the climax of the story as a result of the impact character's influence. So that would be like Luke Skywalker or Woody from Toy Story 1.
Cool. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So the impact character is still the one opposing the main character, but the protagonist could be static or a change character. A steadfast character. Okay, that makes sense.
And the impact character isn't necessarily a villain. Like, they just have an opposite point of view to the main character. So you would think like Marlin and Dory from Finding Nemo.
Cool. That makes sense.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me go back. Okay, so basically the 4 through lines and the 4 domains. The main character has a certain stance or disposition in life which they believe. The impact character has an opposing stance which explores the other side of the argument. And then the relationship between the 2 is how they see the argument play out over the course of the story. And then the overall story is the root issue or problem that everyone is dealing with in the story.
Yeah. So like a lot of the times we've talked about theme on the show, essentially the objective story would be tied in. It's similar to the theme, like in Breaking Bad, the drug dealer stuff, right? Even though it would have higher themes in Breaking Bad, like it still has the theme all the way through of the drug dealing world. Like even Hank is working for the DA, right? Like that's another opposing character for Walter, but he still has to be tied into the drug dealing world in some way. Otherwise, it wouldn't feel complete, right? It wouldn't feel centralized to that objective through line.
Right. Yeah, that objective story is what connects all the characters together, because they all are pursuing, or the root cause of their problems is affecting everybody.
Yeah,
Like,
that graphic actually helps me. I get the graphic. It makes sense.
I didn't make
Like
it, but
in
I'm glad it helped.
in a shonen thing, they can have like a martial arts contest that comes up, and all the characters are all different martial artists that all have different methods, right? And they're all kind of impact characters to the main character's method.
I'm sorry. It's something like that. Like, since the main character or the impact character perspective is just a perspective, it's not a character necessarily, the impact or the influence can be felt through different characters. So say like the main character is being influenced by this certain impact character, but then they die or they're removed from the story in some way. Then another character will come in to replace them, but they'll hold the same characteristics as the character who died. So they'll still have influence over the main character.
We can have like whole teams. Say like for a real childish example, you've got Team Rocket in Pokemon, right? It's a whole group of characters that has a philosophy that can embody it. And then you can even have breakaway characters in that have derivatives of that opposite philosophy. And maybe they can represent like someone coming around from that to the main character's point of view. If you have a group, you can see people changing and adapting to the main characters if they're the catalyst. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
that sounds too complicated from my mind. So
I also think a lot of the times the stories that are really heavy hitting that deal with two good characters that are working together but have different perspectives, wants, or point of views on things. You know, like Daredevil and the Punisher, right? They're both fighting for justice. One kills and one doesn't. And that has a really heavy hitting impact, even though they have different perspectives, rather than have it be a hero and a villain. Two heroes makes for interesting storytelling too.
Yeah. Especially if there's like a narrative argument or something that the author is trying to convey by the end.
Definitely. Yeah. So that like objective part of the story would be like Kingpin is a big asshole and is trying to destroy Hell's Kitchen. And then you'd have your impact character would be Punisher to the main character Daredevil's point of view. And that subjective story would be that struggle between one wants to kill Kingpin, the other doesn't.
In that story, Kingpin would not be the most important character by a long shot, really. Yeah. Which is fine to do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The because it covers all four of those through lines, you get a full feeling from it, because the heart of the story, the heart of any story is the relationship through line, or what they're calling the subjective story right there, where the two characters, the main character and the impact character, are battling out to see whose side or whose right or whose side wins and solves the problem at the heart of the story at the climax. And so then
Antron Yad says the process is convoluted, or the system. I don't think so. I think this is pretty straightforward. What's presented here is very straightforward. There is two opposing forces. One is your protagonist, one is your antagonist, and I feel like these are things we generally know, but it helps to lay it out and define it in terms. And it is these two forces meeting that create the story, just like Ken just said. There are variations of that, but if you start talking about the variations of that gets complicated. But this is every shonen story.
Right.
I think of this too. This is like an alternative to like if they do like subscribe to some possibilities at like in a writer's room or something. What's the one that everyone talks about? That's the story circle, the Dan Harmon story circle. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah, I love
Yeah.
that
So
one.
like, yeah. So like, this would be an alternative to that, which could be welcome.
I
Yeah,
Well, no,
think
like
this
what
fits into that.
go ahead.
This would fit into any other structure, I think, because this is
It's
this is laying out the kind of like matrix of character conflict.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this already fits the hero's journey, and the hero's
Mhm.
journey is also just one template for storytelling. It works with obviously superheroes and shonen stories and whatever, but this fits and it adds in the hero's journey template has elements that aren't mentioned here, but vice versa. There are elements here that aren't mentioned in the hero's journey. Generally, the hero's journey doesn't focus that much on what is the impact character, and that's something that basically, in at least going to school for comics, they were like, just do the hero's journey. But well, they don't teach you about writing villains and impact character and the antagonist, and that's really, really important. So this is great.
Yeah,
right.
and like the stuff we talk about in the show, it's to help us exercise our thought process on storytelling. And you guys in the chat, if you guys want to create stories in the future, or just the way you ingest stories as well, it's cool, and it's just a good exercise to identify different types of characters and who's opposing who, why this scene works, why these characters are so tragic together. Just all that, like discussions like we have on this show. For me, it's what I would imagine like sketching would be like for artists. Like I get to think about this stuff and see how it applies to stories I know or stories that I'm working on. Like listening to videos like that local script guy, like hearing him explain things about writing scripts and characters and themes really gets my creative juices flowing and being like, oh, now that I understand that, I could apply that to characters that I'm working on,
Right.
Yeah, it can be inspirational.
For sure.
Right. And I would say like Dramatica is not even my go-to for like writing. When I'm starting out the process, I don't just jump into Dramatica and like everything's fixed. It's more like an extra tool to use, just like any other book like Story or this other one that I use called a Story Grid. Or Dan Harmon Story Circle. I'm sorry?
Can we see that more clearly? Narwhal,
Yeah.
can you post him, please? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sean Coin. I don't think I have that.
Yeah, this one's very solid. This one's the one I'm been going to the most now.
Okay.
But like any other what do you call it? Writing paradigm or story paradigm, it's just another tool to fall back on when your go-to tools don't work. So if you're writing and you feel like you're missing something, then you can go to Dramatica and it'll tell you like, okay, this part is underdeveloped, or you don't have enough dimensionality in this character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've thought about that a little bit with the Percival problems I've been having, and I'm like, what is the checklist? I feel like I just need to make sure if I'm starting a story from scratch from zero, I want to check some boxes. And so you check like emotion, obviously. You check some other stuff or like a good fun opening. When I was thinking that, I was like, I want to check the ticking clock. I was thinking because like you just almost that helps so much. So I was like, I want that in there. And I was still trying to think. I can't remember what would have been on the list. It's actually kind of hard when you're like, oh, what are like the things that I really like in stories that I want mine to have.
Right. Yeah, and I got
No, go for it.
Oh, I was about to say just really quick. I got a slide on the ticking clock versus something else that Dramatica mentioned.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Reedy? Saying something?
Oh, I was just gonna agree that I think these a lot of these templates, tropes, and systems, I guess, like this that we talk about on the show, they really are tool for checking your work. I think everyone has an organic way of coming up with ideas, and that depends on the writer. And I don't think that should be taken away. A lot of people are just really instinctive, and like I know writers that will come up with a story and they've never learned anything about story structure, but they just have read so much they know what works, or they've written so much that they know what works. But what they create will check all the check boxes on hero's journey, or like having all the things that make a main character and impact character good and all that stuff. But yeah, I think these tools are useful when you're stuck. But
Right.
you don't need to be constrained by them. I like seeing people break out of them. That would be cool too.
Yeah. I was about to say that there's this one show, first of all, called Freerun that
Yeah.
yeah, it breaks the mold. Like, it starts off at the end of the story, like at the falling action of the story, so it's like it's a completely different thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how in anime, a lot of shonen follows the main character, impact character template, and usually main character is a static character, etc., as we've established. But there's a very common trope in anime where you have a frenemy or an initial mini boss, essentially, that goes up against the main character. They start out as impact character, but they change and they become an ally. So that's your Bokugo, and I just watched Mob Psycho. So that's what's the blonde guy. I can't remember his name, but the blonde guy with the hair. Yeah, so that type of character is kind of breaking out of a strict template, but it's also very common as an anime trope. And I just saw this video. I forgot who it was by, but it was about how Miyazaki completely breaks all rules of storytelling. He doesn't. A lot of his conflicts, the conflicts in his movies, don't lead to a resolution where there is a clear victor. A lot of his antagonists and a lot of the situations, the conflicting situations in his story are just diffused. His stories are about diffusing instead of there's a big battle and there's a clear victor. And that's a clear marker of his storytelling style. Which there's so much more to how he writes than just the visuals. Like, he writes a very specific way. So that's awesome, and he makes it work. But I don't think everybody can.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and you made a point about how some people are just like instinctively very good at writing and story structure and whatnot. And what I was looking for when I searched up like how to write complete stories, I was searching for a way to make that what's the word? Instead of it being accidentally good just because of your instincts, I wanted to make it a repeatable process, something I could consistently do. Because there would be stories that I would read that were like really good. Like it was called there's this anime or this manga called A Silent Voice, and I loved that story all the way through. It was 7 volumes, and then I read the next work by that same creator, and I thought I was going to get the same feelings as I did from the other story, but it just didn't hit the same way. And I was wondering, like, is she doing something different, or what's going on here where it doesn't feel like the thing that she made before? I mean, it was a change in genre, but it didn't feel as structurally sound as the last work that she did. So it was
interesting.
It kind of sparked that in my mind. Like, how do I make this consistent and repeatable?
Hit every time,
Right.
And I think guidelines like this lend to being prepared in your story. So if you're a writer or creator that is used to going off the cuff and just kind of free writing, having these tools and ideas of main character, objective story, subjective story, and the impact character, just to as like a template to double check your story structure, that's being prepared is everything. That's going to favor your story to being well created. So having templates like that to double check your stuff is good.
Yeah.
So just to go back to the whole main character, impact character thing, There's usually a multitude of impact characters, right? Pretty much, if you're gonna have every other character be another philosophy or perspective around the theme, which is all going to be different to the main character, would that technically make all the other characters be a gradient of impact character? Like, for example, in Freeran, the friend character, the purple hair woman, she is essentially an impact character because it's just like in its simplest, smallest form, it's just questioning the methods of the main character, right? Having a friend that's around all the time, just going, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
is essentially a really small, an impact character that's constantly there, instead of like, I'm the big villain and I oppose you, like Batman and Joker style.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that, and if you watch Freerun, that's exactly the case where the purple hair character, since she's a regular human, she's always telling Freerun, we gotta hurry up, we gotta do this and we gotta do that because I don't have time, but you have time because you're a different being or that kind of thing. But she's not a villain. She's not directly opposing her. It's just she's causing her to change through her impact or through her influence on the main character. And since it's a point of view, it can be shifted from different characters, but it's there's only one primary character that has an impact on the main character. At max, there would be maybe two, or if there was a group, it would be lumped together as a group of people who have the same influence, but it wouldn't be this person has this influence, this person has that, this person has.
Yeah.
It would be lumped together.
It'd be like the Knights of Ni. We are the knights who say Ni.
Well, we talked about it before on the show that I did, the Next Big Thing one, that was all about like animated sitcom story structure. Whenever you have a group of characters, like they always end up in two teams of point of view, and you could see those characters like rejumble and face another problem, and they would still split up into like two teams of point of view.
Yeah. You know what show always does that is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Have you guys seen much of that show?
Yeah.
They always the team ups are always different too, so it's pretty funny. Like this week it'll be Dennis and D. Next week it's Mac and D.
Yeah.
Whatever. Arthur Brown says, "F that write drunk, edit sober." Yeah, and that's a little bit what we're saying though. If it's a tool, so write drunk, and then you can try and apply Dramatica to what your jumbled mess and make some sense of it or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real quick too, not to slow us down, but just one. Speaking of the checklist stuff, there's one that I like. I think it's an objective. It would be in the objective quadrant, but I love when a character like kind of has to do something that creates a problem that they don't even know the solution to. And I saw a movie last night where I was like, oh, that's awesome. But it's funny because part of it, what it seems like Dramatica that I like is like you set that up and then it's still not really the focus. You can focus on the characters, but if you set this objective story up well, that really kind of helps. But there's one, the movie was called The Painted Veil, and it's about a doctor going in like inland China to a cholera outbreak, and he with his wife, and at first they kind of hate each other, but then they end up falling in love again, and then he dies of cholera at the end, so it's like tragic. Or
how nice!
But
Amazing story.
yeah, but what he has to, about like a third of the way into the movie or whatever, he has to, and apparently it's based on like a really good novel. And as I was watching it, I could just tell, like, it's funny. I've seen it twice in my life. Both times I end up sitting and watching the whole thing. I plan on multitasking, but I just watched it because I'm like, I could just tell this is so good. But it has that feeling of a full meal like you're talking about. But like halfway through, he tells his wife, he's like, today I had to cut off the village's access to the river, which is the only water source. And she's like, so what do you, and he'd already done a couple other things. And she's like, so what are you going to do? Cause like the village will die that way too. Like that's not going to work. And he's like, I don't know. And then, so like, I love that. Cause he's not like, well, I got some options and I'll try this and I'll try this and maybe one of them will work. I don't know. He's just like, I don't fucking know. And I'm like, dude, I have to keep watching because I just want to see how he's going to solve this problem. And then over the course of the movie, he just kind of solves it, and it's part of the plot, and it's kind of fun. but it's the relationship with his wife that's like the main story kind of thing. But
Nice.
And then he dies.
yeah, but those moments like are good. I'm trying to think if there's other examples, but there's one in Grand Prix where Julia, because she doesn't have the reincarnation ring, everyone else does, so they're kind of safe, but she's not. And when she finds that out, that the only way you can get out of the Grand Prix is with the ring, so she's like, "So I'm stuck here until I die," and they're like, "Yes." And so you're like, "Oh, I want to see, is she gonna figure something out of how to get out or what?"
Yeah, the reason those moments are so good is because they're so humanizing. It's like, oh, this protagonist, he's not a super god, you know,
Yeah.
and you empathize with the person because it's like, oh, that must suck for him to know he doesn't know what the hell he's gonna do, and all these people could probably die.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I ask something about this ticking versus option clock? Option lock? Okay. Is the option lock, as time goes on, you start off with a lot of options, but then they like fritter away? So like similar to asking for a prom date. If you leave it right to that last minute, everyone's been asked and your options are lower. Or say there's a bunch of exits, but they're all single use to like a maze. And over time, other people start escaping the maze. So there's only like 3 doors left for you towards the end of the story.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be something like that. Like you would, let's say the story could technically go on for infinity, but if you run out of options, that's when you reach the climax of the story. So whenever there's no ticking clock present, like say you have 24 hours to do this or something explodes, but whenever there's no ticking clock present, it's basically you're running out of options until you find the place or the person who's responsible for the source of problems in the story. So the ticking clock would be one way to drive up tension, but then the options, running out of options, is another way to run up tension, like in a murder mystery.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and that's like between those two, you kind of need one of them, no matter what, almost. And
Right.
You can maybe retrofit it in or whatever, but like every story might have a little something like that. But
well, it's making me think that, say, a typical horror film where there's a group of people and then the other people get picked off. It's almost like a reverse option clock. It's like once everyone else is dead, I'm the next one.
You're the last one.
You're
dead next.
I'm the last option for the murderer.
yeah,
Right. I mean, it's not a reverse. It's just pure option lock. Like there's no time limit except maybe if day comes, but I don't think that will stop the killer from killing the rest of the characters. So it's basically just killing off options until you get to the main character, which is who you kill at the end, or whichever character is left.
yeah. Oh, horror movies will do that. There's one I love where there's kind of inherent ideas that one of them is like if you call the cops kind of are a little bit of a safety net or whatever. And the movie, what is the movie? It's the one called like it's the one with the van and the creature, and it's made by a pedo, so it's like been
well, that doesn't narrow it down much, does it?
It's been besmirched. What's it called? It's called like Hocus Pocus or Helter Skelter or something.
No,
Polanski?
Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, Jeepers Creepers.
Oh.
Yeah. So in Jeepers Creepers, which is a great movie despite being made by a pedo apparently, but the main characters they end up running into the police station and they're surrounded by like 50 cops in the police station, and the creature comes in and murders all the cops, and you're like, oh damn, like fuck,
Dang.
there is no safety net. So that's kind of cool.
I gotta watch that.
Now I want a horror film where they think they have to survive until the morning, and like half of them survive, but then they think they're fine. They go about their life the next day, but then they continue getting murdered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be dope. All right, let's see. Oh yeah. So these are the caveats to using Dramatica. So entertainment value is more important than perfect structure. If it's not entertaining, then it doesn't matter if you use Dramatica or whatever. it's not worth the read, I guess. And just because something is created using Dramatica doesn't mean it will be good or fun or popular or, just good to read. Just because something is categorized as a complete story by Dramatica doesn't mean it will be good. Just because a story isn't complete doesn't mean that it's bad or won't be popular. That would be like
Twilight.
Let's see. Yeah, that would be like Twilight. That would be like Dragon Ball Z. That's not a complete story. It's just a fun ride, pretty much. And just because a story is complete doesn't mean that the writer used Dramatica to write it. So complete stories have existed for millennia. Attack on Titan is actually one of the most complete stories, and I consider it a bona fide masterpiece of the last decade. But there's no amount of reading Dramatica that will give you the creative chops to pull off a story like that. That takes something divine. So
yeah, we're all doomed, basically.
Right. Let me see if I had any more. Okay, cool. Yeah, those are the last two slides. So Dramatica, what Dramatica really is just a tool to make sure all your narrative bases are covered and your story is structurally sound. And it helps with analysis as well. It's not a magical pill to give you like cool ideas to use. You have to come up with those on your own.
You know what's for that is Grok. Just kidding.
Grok.
The AI, Twitter
Yeah.
AI.
You betrayed
Disavow.
Right.
us.
Fully avow.
Actually, I got a real quick. It wasn't Grok. What's the other like main one before it started?
Gemini?
GPT or whatever.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was doing some of my personal research, I had to name towns, and that was holding me up. And so I was checking GPT to see what it suggested, and I did notice like it suggests like you can immediately tell it's like the gruel of fantasy names, like
Yeah.
you don't want to use that. It's like Shalak Nun BM or whatever, like just all this like words that are made up that it doesn't have a good feeling to it.
No, if you
I know,
read
but
all,
making up names is so much fun.
Yeah,
Do
no, I
it
did.
yourself.
It helped me. Well, it just kind of helped me from something not to do. Because what I ended up doing was, because the Percival, it's like pre-flood. So I'm like, these names would almost come down from like caveman times. And this is kind of how they say like god names and city names back in like Mesopotamia. I think it just actually means the land between two rivers. That's all it means. So like you could just name it that. Like, so that's kind of what I did. The untranslated simple names for the city. So there's one city called Tribute. There's one city called Devotion. And these are like
That's true.
That kind of worked for what I needed.
I thought you were gonna, when you said caveman, I thought it was gonna be Uga and Booga. Was gonna be the town name.
Yeah, no. But
No,
yeah,
that's the thing with naming places in fantasy stories. Most place names are super basic. Like, it sounds fancy to us if it's not in English, but even English names, if you look at the roots, like Oxford just means the ford with that ox's cross. And
Lichfield, it's the field where we buried the Lich, the great Lich of England.
That amazing story that we all know. But yeah, so just pick something like there's a right white tree here, and make it in a cool language.
I had, my story has a big river that's kind of based on the Nile a little bit, so I had to name it, and I want to give it two names from each culture. So it gets like kind of hard, but so I named it Shep. Shep is like the lower culture, and I checked in ChatGPT. I'm like, if one in a land like Mesopotamia, if one river is named Shep Shep, what are the other rivers named? And ChatGPT is like, poo poo, pee pee.
Oh man!
No, you're not supposed to speak those aloud because it'll summon a demon. That's what ChatGPT is giving you names of. Taxes to put on people.
I hate demon PP.
Yeah.
Much experience?
Oh, every night in my dreams. Nightmares. What would be nightmares?
Yeah, I'll just finish this out there.
Dead silence.
So Dramatica will just make sure that your ideas carry like weight in meeting. But don't try to force your story into it, or your story structure into it, because you will drive yourself crazy. And so then further reading is at dramatica.com. There's this other website called Narrative First. There's a YouTube series called Dramatica Unplugged by the actual creator of the story theory. And there's another one by an expert in it. His name is Jim Hull, and he made this program called Subtext that uses Dramatica. There's also a actual, what's it called? I bought the Dramatica, software, which takes all the information that you would do by hand in the book and just makes a place where you can write it all down and keep it in order. So that's the Dramatica software. It was like, back when I bought it, it was $120 something. And I got it. It stopped working on Mac, but it works still on Windows. But yeah, that's basically it.
Cool.
Nice.
That's awesome.
All right.
Yeah,
Very
thanks for doing that. That's fun. There is a lot of books out there, and they're all interesting.
I want to
A lot of
see that
systems and
that comic version that you had a link to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where could I follow you or something? So I could be like, yo, what's up? Send me that comic version.
On Twitter, if you have a Twitter account.
Oh, I got many Twitter accounts, man.
You can follow him at twitter.com, Phil. Just type that in and click.
Tell us.
Is
You're not supposed to say that,
it
Phil.
Kami Ken? Emphasis on the Kami?
It'll be
Maybe if you're typing it.
it'll be at the Comiken, COMIKN.
E? Oh, the.
At the, yes.
The.
Yeah.
Royally.
So I think we'll start the second
all-
half in a little bit here. I'm going to send a link to Young Von Coleman as well because he's closing out his campaign soon. So we'll see.
And you-
He's been in the chat too, so we'll see what his thoughts
Ken,
are.
you know Von Coleman?
Yeah, we've talked a few times.
So sorry. We already follow each other, you and I.
Oh, dope.
Nice. And I'm going to get a little snackaroo, I think.
Do you have a
bit
video to
peckish.
play for the second half?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see what I got.
Yo, Kami Ken.
We've only been doing the show for like 2 years.
I have something maybe.
Oh, Ken. So by the way, I came in late. So you're a writer. What else do you do? I guess I'll follow you on Twitter because we haven't met before. I don't know what you do.
Writer, artist.
Like I've listened to this whole awesome presentation and like I'm a failure.
No, you're good. I made Air Rider, High School Hero. That's my my comic book. So I wrote Andrew that.
Awesome.
Is it
Alright, I will follow you
crowdfunding
now.
at all right now, Ken? Because we can look at that too.
No, it's I'm gonna do the crowdfunder for book 2 in October, but I just finished fulfilling the Kickstarter for number 1.
Nice. Cool. All right, I found a video, so I'll let this play and then we'll start part 2.
This does not count as a video.
This is not a video you needed to find. This is the only
Great
one
video,
he has.
Noel. Excellent choice.
Excellent work. I mean, yes. Wow. I'm gonna go.
Okay. Bye. Oh no, this is by the way, Ken, don't feel weird. People do leave this as a bit usually for this part.
Oh shit! Yeah. So,
really?
by the way,
leave.
we do a second half of the show that Narwhal didn't explain before he left, without explaining to our guests that we hang out and just shoot the shit like after the presentation, just until everybody wants to go to bed. So this is a more relaxed segment. We're just gonna be silly. In the past we drank, but we haven't been doing that for a while. So
Oh, okay.
cheers.
Cool.
I have coffee because I am trying to wake up.
Yeah, I want to find out more elements about the Dramatica thing because I get that that initial Matrix was interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah,
there's
a.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was about to say there's a whole ton more elements, but what I like is that they have archetypal characters like the protagonist and antagonist, and there's 8 of them that they have in their theory. So there's the protagonist and antagonist, and then you have the guardian, and then they have a special one that they made up called the contagonist, which is a character that just messes with everybody or messes with the their whole job is to hinder whichever side that they feel like hindering. So that would be Darth Vader in Star Wars.
Like a mischievous person.
Not necessarily. Like it doesn't describe their personality traits, but their function in the story. So they're always slowing down the characters from doing stuff or getting in the way of plans, but they're not directly opposing them or trying to stop them.
It makes me think of like a little leprechaun, that's like just screwing up everybody.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Something like that.
I was gonna say Loki-ish, but Loki is actually mischievous.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, like Loki in mythology, but Loki,
Right.
Yeah. Because Black Myth Wukong is like the new hot thing. In the original mythology, he is that character. He is the one that fucks everything up constantly.
Oh yeah.
But he's the protagonist, which is an interesting combination.
Right.
We had Dale A in the chat. Dale A, you missed everything. He says, "What did I miss? Everything.
Better start all over.
The whole presentation."
All right, let me share my screen.
Wow.
I'll just.
Oh no!
There's gone.
No, there's no way to replay the stream at all. You missed it all forever, Dale. But welcome to the show. Hello.
Narwhal is legitimately gone. Where'd he go?
He's gone. That means Vaughn can't even come in, even if Vaughn was here.
Great host. Good job.
Well, I
Yeah,
enjoyed the
think it's just under
presentation.
the computer screen.
Yeah, it was a very good presentation.
I enjoyed the presentation.
Appreciate it, y'all.
I love.
He probably heard us complaining about him from across the house.
What does he have? What do you have there to eat? You have chips? Is it pita chips?
Hear.
What do you have to eat there?
I got some apples and peanut butter and a quesadilla.
Nice.
Oh.
That's so random.
I took a piss too, and I have an inspiration when I pee, and that's like an angel that comes down and touches your shoulder whenever you pee or whatever, But
What?
he
Speaking, here he is now, Vaughn Coleman.
Vaughn, what's up?
Somewhere
But
like-
the only
No,
thing, the only
continue.
thought was, it was just that the main thing I took away is one simple thing from that presentation is that a story should present an argument. I think that's a kind of cool outside the box thing. That alone is like interesting.
Nice.
So
Yeah, that's something. Actually, Nick Patera taught me is to try to bring a truth across through your story.
Right.
Like a truth to show the world, and that really stuck with me. He's an awesome guy to talk to about storytelling.
Yeah,
Nick is hit. Axe with a John was fantastic.
Yeah.
I really like that. That Ken guy did some good colors too. Ken, how do you know Narwhal, dude? I didn't know you guys talk.
Well, if you watched the show,
I did watch the show.
we talked
Phil?
about it.
I think
Well,
I reached out to
listen.
him about his book.
Okay, I was just
Interactivity.
wondering. Yeah, Ken, I know because him and Zach went to the Cupid School together,
Yep.
Oh, cool.
and Bobby too, right? Did you go with Bobby?
Yeah, he was there too.
Zach is insane.
Oh yeah, certified.
Are you credited in here? Did Nick give you credit?
Yeah, I'm crediting there. I think on the cover page there.
There's yeah, I remember him talking about a lot of colorists.
Yeah, he had to get a lot because some people were like too slow and or turning in bad colors and all that stuff. So it was
Yeah, there was like a murderer's row. There's colors.
Yeah, awesome book though.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, speaking of guys who touch men's shoulders while they urinate, what's up, Vaughn Coleman?
Oh, thank you. Nothing much, man. I got an email from my printer today, and they were like,
"Oh, dang!"
They were like, "Oh, why'd Jake leave?"
He muted himself. Probably lost connection.
I don't know. But I was like, I got an email this morning,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, "Hey, you should print by this date," and I was like, "Ah, shit." Okay.
Your printer told you that?
Well, not print. They're like, you get this. All right. So apparently the price is going up soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So I was like, okay, let me get it. And they wanted the numbers. So I was like, okay, I guess I should finalize the numbers and close out because I did promise that all the variants would be limited. So I'm like, let me get all the numbers finalized, have that set off, and then my plan is while it's getting ready for the printer, what's going to happen is basically that's when I think I'm going to work on my website and then do all that stuff. Cool. Issue 2 is also like 10 pages ink already. So
nice.
I'm hoping the issue might even be done by the time my plan is for the issue to be done or mostly done by the time issue 1 is in people's hands, which unfortunately it looks like it's going to be in October instead of what I wanted, but you know, I kind of anticipated that.
No, that's good that you got a head start. Yeah, Moromi's saying it's probably because the end of the fiscal year is coming. They probably want to incentivize to get people printing with them before the end of the year. So that makes sense. But yeah, I was talking to you earlier. Yeah, we usually leave our campaigns open through printing because when people get books in, they'll get more orders. But if you have a site,
I'm gonna have a site with the main cover, and then I'm gonna have, I guess, whenever Irene comes back, like I'm definitely gonna send her some copies of her cover. Like all cover artists are getting extra copies of their cover, to do with what they please. Figuring out comps and everything. Yeah.
And then, if you have a site, then you could just do that. Or what you could do too is just take down the variants and then leave that just one cover up there through printing, you know, the one that's going to be your.
Well, that's what I'm doing. The main cover was $20. All the variants are $25 and limited. So that's my plan.
Yeah. Jake would call it your forever cover, you know.
Oh, did Jake coin that? I thought Rini coined that.
Who could tell the difference between them anymore? You know?
There's a few differences. I don't know. Yeah.
So, Pear, how did you decide to get apples? Apples and peanut butter go together, right?
Yeah.
And what was the third
This is what
thing?
it looks like. Can you see that shit?
Yeah. That's classic. Apples and peanut butter. Now, what was the third one you grabbed?
A quesadilla.
And how do you...
That was just something quick and easy to make to top it all off. I got an apple tree that drops apples right at this time of year.
Oh, cool.
And the deers all eat them, but I'll grab them before the deers eat them sometimes. So I've been eating an apple a day.
Keeps the doctor away.
Yeah.
Nice.
Have you been
doctor?
When's the last time you were at a doctor?
Me?
No, Pear.
I can't even remember. Oh, it was when I almost died.
Classic.
Yeah. It was unfortunate because I think it was COVID.
Yeah.
I didn't get vaccinated, which I'm glad I didn't still, but I did get COVID and it did almost kill me.
But now you're stronger because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you will prevent the death by eating apple. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
No.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Vaughn, are you into writing like on a like really deep level or?
Define deep level. I mean, it's
Very
like basically
shallow.
my passion.
He's
Shut the
very
f-
shallow.
No, I don't. I haven't read a ton of books in all honesty on it. I've read a few. I've read like I went to it. It was my primary focus in college. But if you're asking, I didn't know first of all that you were into it that deep. That's awesome.
Yeah, super deep for many years, man. I just I don't know why, but
I didn't. What do you mean? It's awesome. But I had no idea because we talked mostly about art and
Yeah.
stuff. But I didn't know you were that into the writing of it. I know me personally, I don't think I could ever be an artist, but like a writer, absolutely I can do. And I feel like I have improved so much. Honestly, I think just writing alone, like literally just the act of writing, as well as other stuff, makes you a better writer. Like
course, yeah, I mean, that's
after my
everything.
first issue, I saw lettered. Like I'm writing issue 6 now, rewriting it, I should say. And I was cooking the other day, and then I was like gonna write more yesterday.
Shut up, Vaughn. You're so-
And then, no, I was, and then,
no one
and
wants
then,
to hear about how good you think you are at writing. You know,
Phil, you could read my stuff, man.
that's a big tip. Here's if I could give you anything. No one wants to hear about how good you think you are at writing, or anything.
I disagree. Also, you are very boastful.
No, I'm not boastful at all.
You are.
No, I just retweet what other people say about me. I never talk about myself.
Well, I think I was doing well. I was proud of myself. I don't only read Chris Claremont, Henry Bemis.
Unless you're talking about how much I could curl, then I do boast about that. You know?
oh yeah.
You know what? I just finished a comic today. I finished the first phone book of Cerebus, the Dave.
No.
Sim
Oh my God, yeah,
artwork
yeah.
one.
What'd you
So
think?
I loved it, but the first one, it's like I don't know, it's only like half are good, and then I guess they say like starting with a second phone book is when it becomes like a masterpiece, and that is apparently one giant story. And I started it, and it's already great. It's already like better than the entire first phone book.
Really?
But the first phone book, it has a few that I remembered. I was like, these little stories, they're so fun. It'd be like looking back on a TV show and being like, oh, that one episode was so good, because it's way more just episodic and random and fun. But there's one where he like discovers there's the guy called the Roach, who's just like he tries to be a superhero, but he's like, I don't know, that all's ridiculous, but he's been stealing gold, but he doesn't even remember that he has the gold because he becomes the Roach at night or whatever. So he doesn't know the gold's there. Cerberus does. So Cerberus is going to steal all the gold, and the whole story is about Cerberus figuring out the logistics of moving a room full of treasure, because it's like actually kind of hard to
Dude,
get all that.
I finally read Earthbound. Love it.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Read all of it. I will say, because I noticed that, Narwhal, I did take issue with the decision you made.
To kill the sirens, is that what
You're going to spoil your own book? I was gonna try to be subtle here.
Yeah. No,
Because here's the thing. That whole day, I spent the whole first 2 books that day getting attached to these characters. And I'm like, yay, the next one. And then I read it, and like he kills them in like one panel. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. But they become...
What the hell, man?
They reincarnate, so they're like just little floaty fairies at that point. So they're
Don't worry, they come back. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Oh, because they didn't come back, and when is 3 coming out? I'm excited.
Dave Sim.
Like
I was
next
just
spring.
talking.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Aldous about
Oh yeah, nice.
Cerebus.
Yeah, man.
Cerebus?
About too
Not
much.
to be not to confuse it with Cerberus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Cerberus is my book. and Dave
No, it
Sim
was technically the same title, but his wife spelled it wrong.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I heard. Is that his wife spelled it wrong? Yeah.
Yeah, they
that's
got
what it was.
It's the same thing
Yeah.
with Mortal Kombat. Someone spelled combat wrong, and they were like,
Oh.
"Well, it looks cool."
Very 90s.
That
to this
can't
day.
be true.
No, that is like they've admitted it. Like someone on the whiteboard was writing out names for them
With a K.
for it, And then someone wrote Mortal Kombat, and then like eventually someone pointed out, dude, they spelt it wrong. There.
Spell your titles wrong,
looks
everybody. It'll end up being like a cool thing that everybody thinks was on purpose.
Just no. Here's what you do for fantasy names. Just make them. I remember. Oh my god. Holy shit! I just
use Grok.
I had a character that was named Eric, but I
All
wanted
of
to
you.
make him seem outlandish, so I
Betrayers.
spelled it Aeryk to make it seem like he was cool.
Well,
Yeah.
that's like a standard
Eric.
fantasy thing to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
With a Y.
Dude, there's
Guys.
a character in Battle Angel Alita whose name is spelled Sechs, and then when I said it out loud, I was like, his name is Sex.
That's true.
It's Siege.
Is it Siege?
Yeah, Siege.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, there's
I've
no
heard Sex.
way that this is a character's name.
Okay. Anyways, guys, I am really tired. I actually went to
Rude.
gym today, so I'm fucking exhausted.
congrats.
I'm
Jim
trying
doing?
to get in shape.
I said, how's Jim doing?
How's Jim doing? Very funny, Phil. But yeah, I'm trying to get in shape, guys. I know this is shocking news for comic artists, but you know, I do what I can. But yeah, good show.
Wait,
Really great presentation, Ken. Nice to meet you. Everyone, check out Vaughn's book. I'll see you guys
thank
next
you.
time.
Wait, Rini, hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Just curious. So I was going to do the closeout next week. If you can't, that's fine. I know how busy you are, but...
Oh, I don't think
You-
I can.
Okay, cool. No worries.
Yeah.
What-
Sorry, dude.
But I just...
Sorry.
All right.
What day, Vaughn?
I don't know. I'm figuring it out.
Yeah, I have a promo show scheduled next week, unless someone cancels again, because I've had like 3 people cancel in the past couple months.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Maybe I'll-
Crazy.
If someone
All right,
cancels,
cool.
let me know, Irene. 'Cause
Okay.
book will be launched.
All right, yeah, I
Oh,
feel
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
No, and Irene, I feel
Cool.
bad, like, because I realized, like, every time I because I know how busy you are, every time I've been messaging, like, because I, leave you alone, it was like a new thing I needed help with. So I wanted you to know, like, you could just say no. if you're busy.
Okay. Oh, it's fine. I'm busy. All right, I'm gonna go to bed.
All right.
Go to bed. Bye, guys.
See you, Rainy.
Speaking of Irene, Berserk
Oh, that's
Yeah,
badass.
that's dope.
by Alan, my boy, Howl Comics.
Nice. Is he the one drawing Fiendish?
No, this no, he does a bunch of art for me. I just said because speaking of Remy, because she's obsessed with Berserk,
Oh, okay.
she really likes Berserk. No, Alan's awesome. He does one of my characters in the Lost Pages called the Masquerade. He's like this old timey 1930s pulp character.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Shadow kind of.
Oh yeah, he looks like the Shadow.
Pretty cool. He does like this very animated style.
Nice.
Super
It
fun
reminds me
stuff.
of the Tick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love Alan's design. Design work is so good. He does really good logos too. And we've been working on a Masquerade comic strip for our channel members on our YouTube. So that's been being cool. He did the logo for my new book, Psycho Slumber. So
That's
he's-
awesome.
Yeah, he's killing it.
Nice.
Really good dude. He's going to be doing some sketch cards for the campaign as well.
Awesome.
Arthur, what's up, Arthur, in the chat? It says Masquerade is exactly why I started buying Zayd. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Hope you're digging it. Yeah, Masquerade's like a huge character in that storyline. He's gonna be a big player. We're on book. The next book is book 4. Book 5 is gonna be all about the Masquerade. So like each volume is focusing on a different character to try to build up the connection with the audience. So when the final book happens, they're all gonna meet and shit, and everything's
awesome.
gonna go crazy. Be cool.
Nice.
Yo, what's up, student?
Yo.
You know, speaking of Berserk, this is just something I was thinking about like throughout the week, and I was wondering if anyone has the balls to make something like that in American comics, or has it been done, or is anyone planning on it? Because
Are you talking about just with how graphic the stuff is?
Yeah, it's graphic, but then there's so much depth to the story that it's like there's meaning to all the suffering that goes on in it. I'm wondering if we have writers outside of, let's say, literary novels that would attempt to do that in American comics.
Yeah, and it'd have to be a longer form thing. Speaking of length, it would have to be a longer series.
And the interesting thing
Right.
too is Berserk is so like popular and like in the forefront of manga, you know, and anime for so long, and it's very graphic, super deep themes, lots of tragedy from what I can tell, where even if someone does do something similar to it in Western comics, I don't think it would get the notoriety that it does in Japan, because they're so much more open, and manga is so much more important to the culture than comics is to the American culture. So if you have someone that's doing something similar or taking the risks like that manga does, I don't think it would break through to pop culture in America.
Yeah, it is funny. It's like, what's the Western version of like the manga masterpiece? Like even like Attack on Titan. So there's, you know, like maybe you could put up, because it's like an apples to oranges thing. Like Frank Miller is still kind of my favorite, and he is way different than Attack on Titan. Like he actually kind of, I feel like he wouldn't or couldn't do that. Like it's a little more impressive, Attack on Titan, but it is apples to oranges.
It's something that almost, I mean, something that dominated the Western comic culture for a while, that wasn't a mainstream book and that meant something, was like Saga. You know, like
and actually that guy's Brian K.
heard that's
Vaughan's first one, or not first, but Why the Last Man.
Yeah.
I remember really enjoying that, and I
that
think
was
that
pretty
actually
popular, too.
finished, which is nice. Saga didn't finish, and Saga got a little bit weird and borderline woke right before it stopped.
Really?
So I think it stopped because the artist was overworked or whatever.
Yeah, they go on a lot of hiatuses. I think they lost momentum on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moromi in the chat is saying Tim Vigil, like Faust, like Tim Vigil, super graphic, not safe for work, over the top, sex appeal, demonic shit, gore, outlaw comics. Faust, that was in the probably late 80s. But if he paired up with some crazy writer, like if Frank Miller was writing something for him, or someone with this long-running, deep, thematically story to do something with Vigil and his graphicness to his art, that would be crazy cool.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's crazy the way he draws.
Yeah, he draws gorgeous women, super voluptuous.
I don't think I've ever read any of his stuff.
Wow.
He, I mean, he's always been indie.
Yeah.
And he did Faust. He did, what's that book that Shant loves? It was almost like a Wolverine type character. Wow. Knuckles or Grips or something like that. I think Grips. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at Reddit right now.
Yeah. And he even was going to do a crossover between Faust and the Crow, but I don't think it ever came out. But he posted pages and stuff. He did this like super smutty Batman, Catwoman, Harley Quinn book, just as like a fan book. And Cartoonist Kayfabe, I think they looked at it years ago because they were big on Tim Vigil, and they did an interview with him too a while back. But that might have been the first thing I saw them do.
Yep.
Now Narwhal's gone. Well, it's his channel.
I don't know.
I don't even know how that's
What's going on here?
Do people ever leave early on this show?
Narwhal usually is the one that leaves early, but it's his channel, so.
So those other two never leave early.
Hey man, never say never. It's one of my favorite James Bond movies. Yeah, but Faust or Vigil is awesome. We're doing the book that we're launching tomorrow is a crossover between my series, The Lost Pages, which is more like a superhero type vigilante book with a lot of like mythology stuff in it as well. And my buddy Adams, who's total like horror slasher, it's called The Kill Journal. And so we did a crossover between them, bringing some of my most popular characters and intertwining with them. And then the slasher is almost like a Freddy Krueger type killer who hunts you in your sleep. So 60 pages, and that's going to have gore in it and some sexiness and stuff like that. But it's going to be psychological. And it's my first time writing a slasher character.
Nice. Do you write in a variety of genres or?
Yeah, now I do, I guess, just out of like writing for so long. Like my the first series we did is crime fantasy. It's like a mix between Miami Vice and like Halloween Town. If you remember that movie.
Yeah, I remember.
So it's like this guy's a detective, but he's also a wizard. Instead of a gun, he's got a magic wand. His partner is a werewolf. The other cop is this hot witch, and in this story, they're trying to crack down on this guy who's like this necromancer skeleton Jamaican guy who is trafficking mermaids into the city and selling them off as prostitutes. So it's weird and wacky and very 1980s. So that is totally different from my like superhero vigilante stuff with the Lost Pages.
Yeah.
And then currently I'm writing a Western as well. It's like a Western fantasy, which we're going to show off next year. That'll be next year's book.
Nice. Is Western something you watch a lot of, or do you like Western?
Dude, I love Westerns.
Yeah, me too. Like specifically spaghetti Western stuff, like the Italian outlaw, the hero that rides the gray line, super stoic. You don't really know his motivations. Really dig that stuff.
Nice. The only Western that I was really into was Unforgiven.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. The Clint Eastwood one, right?
Yeah.
That
was a really good one.
Yeah,
especially about the concept of death, like how it actually like felt really to that one kid character who killed a guy. Like it was really, it meant something to him to kill somebody. Like it had a deep impact on him.
Yeah, definitely. That's have you ever seen the film Tombstone?
No.
You should watch that. It's a modern Western as well. It came out probably like when I was born, like 93.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And there's some of that in there as well. There's a character that's never killed anyone before, and it's about Wyatt Earp and his brothers. It's really, really good.
Right.
Good actors. Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer.
Nice. Dale A said, "Come can watch Tombstone." Okay, bet. I'll check that out.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
Yeah, Tombstone is awesome, dude. I haven't seen that many. I've seen Fistful of Dollars, Tombstone, Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and The Searchers.
Those are old ass classics.
Oh yeah.
Moromi says Once Upon a Time on the West.
I haven't seen that.
That is probably my favorite Western. It's amazing.
So what the fuck is going
really
on?
Good. With
like, hold on. What was I gonna say?
Call
Where is Narwhal?
I think I have Narwhal's number.
Yeah, call him.
That is a good question. I thought it was an accident at first, and now he's just gone.
He can't. He has to come back, or the stream will never end. Actually, I think it has like. There he is.
What happened?
My internet died. I'm glad that you guys stuck around. I'm like, does it like end the stream? I don't think it does, but
No.
so that's good. Yeah.
I think it
that's cool.
stays up for 12 hours.
Whoa.
Mm.
I think it'll just go until it hits that mark. I feel like there's a cap mark. I'm not sure. Good. I'm glad we were talking about westerns.
Yeah.
Ken's never seen Tombstone.
Tombstone is so fucking good, dude.
I don't know if I've seen it either.
Oh my god, dude, you got to see it. It's my favorite movie.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I know all about it. I know it's Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer. I know he goes, "I'll be your Huckleberry."
That's right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's awesome. So cool. So many. John Bean. That's his name, right? The guy from
Michael
Terminator.
Bean.
Michael Bean. Sorry,
Yeah.
Michael Bean. Yeah, he's awesome in it. Good villain.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm working on that. I should have a new double page spread for that tomorrow. This guy's drawing it. I'm super excited about that.
Nice. Even Henry Bemis, he's like, "Ken, you got to watch Tombstone."
You got it.
I mean, that's two signs from the
It's so
universe.
good.
3.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well,
It's
I guess
so
I gotta
good,
watch.
dude.
It
so
does.
good.
It makes a lot of people's like best of lists. And
It's
I'm like,
very.
what's even-
The cast is unreal. There are even people that show up for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that
Like
same
Michael
year,
Rucker is in the movie for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
that you know,
Val
that-
Kilmer.
that same year there was another Wyatt Earp movie came out called Kevin.
Or I think it was the
starring
next year.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
called
And it's
Wyatt Earp.
called Wyatt Earp. Yeah.
I don't like it.
So I'm always Team Costner.
Oh
I've
my
seen
God.
that one.
No. Tombstone's better.
Yeah.
Somebody said
Uh,
Trigun is my favorite western. Oh yeah,
Dude.
yeah, I watched it. I watched that one
Arthur.
time.
Yeah, I mean, Trigun takes from a lot of other like actual westerns and spaghetti westerns, like Wolfwood with the cross on his back.
Mm.
That's an homage to the original Django, which is a spaghetti western film from the 70s, where the start of the movie is there's a guy dragging a coffin behind him on the ground. They also do that trope in Cowboy Bebop. There's an episode where a guy has a coffin, he drags it into town with it, and he's like, this coffin's for you, I'm gonna kill you and put you in it, and then he gets hit by a car or something like that.
Oh damn.
But yeah, like the animes, especially like the space westerns, take from all of that, like Trigun, Cowboy Bebop. I mean, I love Trigun. I just watched it like this year for the first time, and I started reading the first manga. But I'm waiting. September 10th, Dark Horse is putting out a full hardcover of Trigun, the manga.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna buy
nice.
that. And then October #2 comes out, and then probably like at the end of the year, the third one. So it's like the same hardcovers they did for Hellsing, which I've never seen.
Oh,
But
dope.
it's
I've
good.
never seen that. Helsing.
Has anyone
no,
seen
I'm
it? Have you
thinking
seen
Van
it, Ken?
Helsing. We're talking about
I haven't
Van-
seen it, but I know of it. I've seen an abridged version, like a funny comedy version of it.
Oh yeah,
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 but I like the aesthetics of it. It's really cool.
yeah. I love that stuff. Like the round glasses, the fucking guns.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Let's see. Yeah, so shout outs to Trigun. Yeah, Wolfwood's awesome. Michael Disha in the chat. Another unpopular take. Costner is a little wooden, and that may be an intelligence problem. Wow. Shots fired.
You're calling Costner retarded? Dude, watch, if you're saying that, watch Bull Durham, because he's a genius in that movie.
Did you watch the new one? The Horizon, is it called?
No, but I want to. I will soon. I realize I kind of forgot. I feel sorry for it, because I was rooting for that one a lot. Then it bombed,
Yeah.
and they canceled the second one to be released in theaters.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's going
Dang.
just straight to like pay-per-view. And then it actually is doing okay on
Damn.
pay-per-view. I don't know if it's through Amazon or whatever. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wanted to see it. I'm not a huge Kevin Costner fan, but I like the genre. And my parents are like, "Hey, we know you wanted to watch that. Do you want to come over and watch it?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's like 3 hours long." And
Yeah.
like sitting on a couch for 3 hours.
Well, that's like what people say about the theater. They're like, 3 hours in the theater. I might have to pee. And they can't even get the couch. Downgrading
Yeah.
to the comfortable couch, people might take that deal.
Yeah, I
But-
guess so.
You know, some people say though, they're like, movies got to get shorter. This is the future. The future is 80-minute movies, and this is like a hot take, but I think the future is 3.5 hour movies. And don't ask me why.
I don't
know,
fucking think so. No way. No fucking way.
I can't defend it. I just feel it. Feel it in my
In
bones.
segments, I could buy. Like if it's released, if they're all mini series, I could buy that.
yeah. Maybe 3. We'll just say 3. 2.5 to 3. That's like, I mean, if you list the 2.5 to 3, then
Yeah.
it's like so many good movies, you know. But,
Oh yeah, Shawshank's my
Tenet.
favorite.
Oh
Yeah.
Tenet sucks.
Tenet?
That movie sucks.
Oh, really?
No,
I've
it's
never
great.
seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
It's like a, what's that called? Parallelogram.
I know
Yeah,
what you're
what is
trying
it?
to say.
It's
What's the
same
word?
phrase,
I don't know
it
the
is
word.
backwards.
Para demon.
Yeah, what is it? The
Para
chat will tell us. Henry Bemis will tell us.
paradigm
Yeah, it's
shift.
He always knows.
one of those words that works both ways.
Period. They did there's a horror kind of anthology series at Image called Ice Cream Man. You guys ever? It's pretty new, like the last 10 years. And so I have it on my pull list, and sometimes I just haven't read them. But there's one that was like Tenet. It was supposed to be that word that I can't think of, where everything you read, the comic you read, everything happens backwards. So you could read it backwards and forwards, and it's the same thing.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's kind of weird. But
Yeah, what is that word? I used to know it really well, and I can't think of it.
maybe it's like the Mangala effect, where we're merging with a universe where that word doesn't exist.
That's what it is.
No, I
Yeah,
will
that makes me
seriously
feel
find it
better
right
about
now.
Being forgetful.
TC says palindrome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. Oh no, I knew that.
It's like
You
race
know what I
car.
do when I'm surfing for what movie to watch? They'll have posters and they have the title of the movie. Let me see if I can see what they are. I'll pull up some, for example. Let me real fast. Let me see. Like, I'm going to Netflix just to see if they show the scrolling.
Netflix.
Michael Diche says attention deficit issues these days inhibit popularity of long movies. Damn, I'm spitting hate tonight. Yeah, I would say so. Like, I couldn't even enjoy Spider-Man for too long. Like the second movie that came out, the what's it called?
Spider-Verse?
Yeah, the second Spider-Verse movie. I was just like, all right, I was there to watch it, and now it's like, all right, back to go home and look at the internet and see a bunch of 1-minute clips and see all this stuff. I couldn't enjoy it.
Yeah, that's how my girlfriend is with movies now.
No, really? Just like watch one onto the next, not really digest the one that we just saw and all that.
It's the distraction of the electronics, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know movies. I'm worried they're dying because of the attention span, but I don't know. I hold out hope. But yeah, so I'll be scrolling and I just change out one word in the title for the word tard. So like this would be called The Tard, and it's about Dustin Hoffman, and he's like a tard. And then like this one is called like Tard or Die, and this one's called like Moon Tard. This one's called Tards.
And you just do this as a pastime to amuse yourself?
Yeah, I love Tard. The greatest Tard ever told. But I do it on tweets too, so people be tweeting, and I want to respond, and I just want to be like, "Yeah, Tard, thanks a lot," but I can't.
This one's
The
good.
one-
The life and death of Colonel Tard.
Yeah. See, it's probably a good one. Tard, Dr. Tard, the Tard, so many Tards. Jason and the Tards.
Jason and the Targonauts. Targonauts.
Tard and the Argonauts. Yeah.
What a fun little
Good way to.
drinking game.
It's a good way to pass the time.
Yeah. Yeah, so what are you guys doing this weekend?
Shit, I don't even know. Oh, my buddy's getting married on Sunday. So.
Are you going, or are you in protest? Are you not? You don't. Are you going to stand up when they ask if anybody objects?
No, but
Do it.
my ex-girlfriend who's now married and with kids is going to be there. Not that it matters that much, but I was thinking about like wearing sunglasses, you know what I'm saying? And maybe putting my hair like this.
Yeah, you should wear X-ray specs.
Yeah. Then I can kind of like peek without her seeing that I'm looking in her direction. She'd be like, "So how you been doing?" I'm like, "I've been doing fine. Been doing just fine. Don't you worry
You should
about
tell her
me.
you quit the deli.
Hey, I no longer work at the deli. You
I have
dumped
my
me
own
because you
plate.
said all I did never amount to nothing but cutting sandwich meats. Well, look at me now."
Yeah, tell her about your house.
Yeah.
About the guy that what happened to that guy with the bag on his head? Is he still around?
Baghead?
Yeah.
Oh no. He left. Yeah. And that's probably for the best. He stayed a little too long. It's all good though. I'm like,
Did you guys did it result in fisticuffs?
no, but just like mildly awkward. And the neighborhood might think I'm gay now because I had a roommate. I had a guy roommate for too long while also being single.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Right.
So they're like,
Yeah.
is he, there's an old man. He's like, "Is your partner coming back?" and I was funny because I wanted to be like I'm not fucking gay, dude. What the fuck? But I was like, wait, that's homophobic. So just take it. So I was like,
Yo, Moromi says Dragon Con is this weekend. Are you going, Moromi? I forgot, like, you move every year, so you're by Dragon Con now. Are you gonna go hang out with Steranko? My artist for Psycho Slumber will be there, Juan Gideon. Go harass him and tell him that he needs to retweet my posts about the book and post on Instagram. But yeah, he drew a bunch of 60 freaking pages for me. Also, isn't Irene near Dragon Con? Is she gonna go? I thought she always goes. He's my special tard friend. Tell him.
he's just more special tard.
Yeah, Dragon Con's this weekend. That's cool.
Nice.
That's in Atlanta. It's a big cosplay convention.
Oh, you know, something I was this is changing the subject slightly, but
Yeah.
me and Phil were talking about this a little bit. Is I'm trying to make a list of IPs, possibly obscure IPs. Maybe, you know, like on the lowest level, it's like realistic that I can maybe get the rights to and then do a comic of it. And I started the list and it's like things that are like maybe a little bit outside of bounds, but like Planet of the Apes and Alien are two. They're both kind of Alien, especially is like everyone's talking about it right now. So that's a lot of fun. But I don't know. Like, do you guys have any favorite IPs you'd want to work with, or you can think of you know of?
Nope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to do a sequel to Demolition Man. You guys have ever
Oh,
seen
yeah.
that movie?
See, that would be fun.
As a comic. So Demolition Man, it's Sylvester Stallone his name is John Spartan, and I think he's an LA cop, and he gets locked up and put on ice. He's cryogenically frozen, and so is this super terrorist Simon Phoenix, who is played by Wesley Snipes. And they're both someone breaks Simon Phoenix out of being frozen, and he's running amok in the future. It's like what's the opposite of a dystopia? Oh, utopia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Utopian, like it's this weird utopian future where it's against the law to swear, but there's been no murders in 50 years or more because everything's really peaceful. Super good movie. And so the only way to shut down this terrorist from decades ago is you got to bring back a super cop who was a badass that'll crack some heads. Demolition Man. So, but spoilers, the bad guy dies at the end, but my thing would be there's a clone of Simon Phoenix, and he's cloned young badass Wesley Snipes. And this is why you could never do it as a movie, because it would be CG. But slow old Sylvester Stallone is now in the future, and he's got to figure out how to kick this young clone's ass.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, that's fun. You should see what you can do about getting those rights.
Right.
Hit up. This is the through line. You've worked with Zach. He knows Chuck Dixon, who's good friends with Sylvester Stallone. That's how we get it. I highly doubt he even has the rights to
the
movie.
Someone does. It seems like it would be possible.
Yeah, it's probably some.
Are you guys? That almost sounded like that could be a Judge Dredd plot. But does Judge Dredd never do time travel? Or
I don't know.
Like Judge Dredd fighting an unfrozen clone, and he's old, and the other guy's.
It does sound like a Judge Dredd thing.
Well, and also because Stallone did play Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd, that's right. Yeah. The other thing would be the Warriors. I think the Warriors would be a cool comic.
Oh yeah,
the gang movie.
Yeah, yeah. The Warriors is based on a book that's written about like just a Greek thing, like a Greek invasion, where there's like mercenaries.
Like
they invade Persia and got caught behind enemy lines, and I forget the guy who wrote it, but it's just some Greek guy.
Someone else assassinated this emperor and blamed this gang or whatever.
Yeah, well, they were just like, well, shit, we're an army of like 300 mercenaries in the middle of this battle where we were just a small part of it, and now there's no reason to even fight because our leader that was paying us got assassinated.
They just got to get back home.
Yeah, so
that's pretty dope.
Home. So then that got turned into The Warriors, which was a novel, and then the novel got turned into the movie, and the movie's classic, obviously.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Airborne was a really good movie. Are you talking about the Michael Bancroft just mentioned it?
Airborne.
Are you talking about the skateboard movie? Because that one was my favorite as a kid.
Real quick, I'm about to head out, but can I pull up my campaign real quick?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, sure. It's probably a skateboard movie because Bancroft likes to be on wheels.
If you guys haven't already, make sure to check out my comic book, Phenomenova. 20 years after World War III, Phenomenova follows the idealistic son of a war hero who is struck by lightning while holding a mysterious crystal and finds himself awakening with lightning powers and super speed. We, of course, got 4 covers here: the Sukeisha Ray cover, the Final Fantasy VII cover, the Rini cover, and the Buzz cover. And then, of course, make sure you will get this for 16. It's at 16K. You will get this
as a print.
Then, yeah, as a print. As a print, you will get this as a print. This one right here as a print for free. If you back on Fund My Comic, you can also go on Indiegogo. I know some people prefer that. And then you will get this for free as well. Yes. And there's a 16 as a trading card. This is trading card art. And then at 20K, there is one final trading card. So definitely check that out.
Kick ass. Yeah, I love that Dark Cloud trading card. It's badass, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What stage of fulfillment are you in?
I'm getting ready to ship out to the printer.
Oh, okay, nice.
All right.
Thanks for coming on, Vaughn. V-Man. Cool V.
Yeah, that's cool. It's been a good campaign, Vaughn. Nice job. A good debut. Very exciting. You're the young gun of the scene. Everyone's proud and living through.
Yeah, don't drop the ball, Vaughn.
Yeah.
All the pressure's on your
Vaughn,
shoulders.
you got like 15 years to get to where I'm at, which you should be able to easily do. So just do it. Don't
15 years to be in your house, pulling your hair down across your face.
All right. Bye.
All right, brother. See ya.
See ya.
Vaughn Coleman.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Vicious.
Vicarious
Vaughn.
Vicarious Vaughn.
Daily Jake disconnected mysteriously, I might add.
Yeah.
And yeah.
how do y'all usually, I guess, talk about storytelling concepts and topics and whatnot? Is it just like a free-flowing conversation, or is it like a...
It's kind of like how we did it with you. People
Yeah.
do slides and have a little presentation, and then we just interrupt and talk as we go. It usually takes 1 to 2 hours to get through.
Sometimes it's free flow if someone didn't plan a presentation or whatever, or there's times where we've just had just a topic and we free flow talk about it. But a lot of the times it's whoever's channel it's on, because it rotates between all of our channels. We'll pick a topic and then do a little PowerPoint thing. I used to do a lot of like character archetypes and exploring those like classic archetypes and talking about any of our characters that fit them or popular characters that do. But we've talked about a bunch of different stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, it came up and it overlaps, which is good. But we'll revisit stuff. But even like from your presentation, like the thematic one did get us to that idea of like, oh, characters sometimes they aren't even like people; they're just representing like an idea, and you want different people to represent different ideas or different philosophies or perspectives. And
Right.
that's like always. I feel like we all are kind of like learning a little bit, but I like how Phil put it too, because it's hard to look back and place like, oh, this definitely helped here. But for the way Phil put it, it's like sketching is like just kind of flexing those muscles and the associations and thinking about the stuff. It just kind of keeps you sharp a little bit. So it helps just in that way, which I enjoy.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You know what? I think for my next one, which will be like in a month, but we haven't done this yet, but we talked about maybe doing it. But I want to try and do like an actual brainstorming writing session, like with the 4 of us, and
That'd be cool.
write a little something. Yeah. And I'll think of some ways to like organize it or make it so it's not a complete like whatever shit show kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, you learn a lot talking like this.
Yeah, I don't really see too many shows about like the writing process in comics. Most of it is about like just the art side.
Yeah. Sometimes we go back and forth. Like Irene and Jake have done shows that are on paneling and stuff like that. So they've actually drawn out like figures and different examples before the show to show off like how you could spruce things up in talking conversations or different scenes and stuff like that. So sometimes we bounce back and forth. It's all creative process stuff, but I don't draw, and so I'm only a letterer and a writer basically. So
okay, nice.
My interest is all like the fundamental like thematics, character building, character moments, and
I definitely do feel like writing is important. The age-old debate in comics, which is more important. That's like definitely hard/impossible to answer. But I would be curious about people who do both, which I'm like that. Ken's like that. Like, what do the people who do both think? And for me, I think writing is more important than art, but I don't know.
I think.
Well,
do you think anything? And they're obviously both important, obviously.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I think when it comes to the storytelling aspect, or when you're trying to tell a story, the writing is first and foremost for me. Because if I don't have something compelling enough to share on a writing level, like before the images, then I don't feel like drawing the images to begin with.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I can relate to that. Of like, it's kind of a good little barometer where you wanna. And writers like Phil can do that too, like where you'll be writing for the artist, and you're like you can feel guilty if you're like, oh, I'm giving him like a 7-page talking scene. What am I even doing? And then you'll like fix it or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I feel like even if I was an artist, because I love comics, I love characters. The reason I love comics and writing is because of characters, because of how different characters are from each other. and what different characters could do. That's why I loved the X-Men animated series when I was a kid. I'm like, oh, they're so different from each other. They each have a cool ass power, you know. That's so cool. But as I get older, it really stands out that the evergreen stories and comics come from the matching of great story, great writing, and cool art. You know,
Yeah.
Even if like you boil it down to like super big comic fans like Aldous, and you talk about a guy like Dave Sim, it's like Cerebus and Dave Sim, what he's doing with that book, it's not blowing my mind with the art, you know. But these veteran comic readers are like, this Cerebus is one of the best comic series. You know, I hear that from multiple people. So you could have that lacking art and amazing storytelling, and that can be a evergreen comic that people will remember, you know, where it's not as impressive as like a Jim Lee or a Capullo or something like that.
Yeah. I got two. This is like slightly similar, slightly different, but I got two theories on where the industry's at now and maybe ways that it could improve a little bit. But one is like a diagnosis I was thinking about, is that there's like generations where the class kind of like will ascend, do their work, and then kind of descend and another one comes up. And I think something happened around 2014, 2015, 2016, where that ascended class, they all kind of like held on to their shit and pulled up the ladders and fucked over the next upcoming class. And I am like a little salty about it. Like those, even though they're like fine, they're all like okay creators or whatever. But and I don't know how like accurate that is, so I don't get too salty really. But I feel like that kind of happened, and I don't even know what you do to like solve that. But it's a little bit of that flow of from the old to the young, the passing of the torch type stuff. Feels like there's way less of that, and we're kind of isolated. So a lot of us, there might be like a mentorship that some of us were missing, and then so maybe it just takes us longer. But I really want us all to like ascend and take that spot sooner or later, and that would be cool. And then the other random thing is I've heard metaphors to where they talk about the movie industry, and I like it way more than what the way I think about comics, because the movies are way more about they'll speak romantically about taking a chance on up and coming like creators, especially in eras where the movies are really like the early 90s or the 70s or whatever, where the movies are really robust. Right. And right now there is a little bit of a thing happening with comics though, where it's the term guts. Like it came up in your boy Zach's thing, and I think in Mark Miller they're talking about the new Batman, that it takes guts to make such a weird logo to get people talking, and we haven't had guts in a while in the comic industry. And it takes guts, I think, to get to like give up and comers a chance basically, and that's like was kind of lacking. The ladders got pulled up, but on the some level, like maybe if we're trying to be objective, maybe people aren't ready. Like I wasn't ready. I could be salty. Like why didn't I get my chance in 2016? Maybe I wasn't ready. You know, I don't know. But because it's like 8 years later, which is interesting.
Right.
But yeah, the metaphor with the movies is like they give a chance to up and coming creators. So the way the path goes is you'll have an independent filmmaker make a movie, and that movie is objectively not the greatest, but it's enough for people to see a little something there, and then they immediately get shot to the big leagues kind of based on that gumption of what they do. So like an example is Kevin Smith doing Clerks, or actually a really good example is David Lynch. So he did Eraserhead, which Eraserhead is like artsy fartsy, weird, kind of boring. It's really kind of a good fun movie, but you know, it takes a little vision to watch Eraserhead and then be like, yeah, you can do a real movie. Here you go. And the guts that it takes to do that, and it was actually Mel Brooks who did that, the guy who did like Young Frankenstein, all the comedies, you know.
Yeah.
He was the producer who gave David Lynch The Elephant Man, which is like won an Academy Award. It's a black and white like drama. So David Lynch went from Eraserhead to Elephant Man, and those kind of jumps are like inspiring and fun. And there can be eras I feel like where the comics ought to be like that too, and there will be, maybe there's not and wasn't for the past 8 years. Like I don't know if that's an exact diagnosis, but that's something I want. And then the last thing about that is that I think the audience does kind of play a role, and I think it might trickle down from the audience, because there's something where, like, even with the example of Clerks, like you can objectively, or another good one is Peter Jackson's first movie. It's called Bad Taste, and it's like such a, like, I love it, but it's so like amateur style.
Yeah.
And somehow that, like, the audience, they loved it and watched it, and he got his next job. But if you compare it, like if you watch it today or whatever, I don't know, but if you compare it to like Jurassic Park would have come out around a similar time, of course, it's like, what? This is like a small indie movie that like can't compare to Jurassic Park, but the audience still loves it. We're going to give this guy a chance. That's the guy who ends up making Lord of the Rings, you know?
Right.
It takes
Yeah.
the
Right.
guts to see like the
Yeah.
kind of like the vision or whatever.
It's so weird to look at stuff how it is now, because you look at the guys that are killing it in crowdfunding, and most of them all started indie, that's where every comic creator starts almost, unless you're hired when you're 17. All started indie. They do work, then they go work for the corporation, right? Kind of like your David Lynch you're talking about. And then they go get away from that corporate structure and then go indie again to make their own IPs. And that's your Gen X artists, right? And maybe even some of your boomer artists. But now here, we're kind of like the up and comers that are starting indie, and Narwhal and I have a pretty robust back catalog of stuff we've done over the last 6 years. How does it go now? You think, like, Pear, would you take the opportunity if an editor at a company was like, oh, this stuff is cool? Would you do like a 20-page story in this Marvel anthology or something to either write or draw or both?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it's because that might,
or Dark
happen.
Horse or whatever.
And then I'm like, wait, is it a step back? I don't even know. But I think the answer for me right now is like yes, for a little bit. I would, if I had the chance, I would, because I feel weird about it. I feel like we didn't take the path that we're supposed to take, and so I kind of want to take the path you're supposed to take.
I kind of think like whose footsteps would I want to go in, and like kind of the perfect person for that is Billy Tucci. Like he has been indie all of his life with She, right? He started indie, but he's had those opportunities to dip his toe into a corporate setting and do stories that he wanted to do, like a Sergeant Rock thing, or some stuff for other companies, and but always continued to do his own thing at the same time. I think the worry about that would be getting sucked into it and never being able to do your own thing again.
Yeah, because it's a weird timeline too, because I'm 38. So then if people like they cut their teeth for 10 years in the mainstream and then move on, it's like I would be 50. I'm not really interested in that. Like that'd be weird. So I might at this point only do a few mainstream books, even if I had the opportunity. But
it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few years. Arthur Brown in the chat, I appreciate the shout outs, brother. He says, Phil, any plans of doing a team like characters like Youngblood, Wildcats, X-Men? I have a team idea that's separate from the Lost Pages that I feel like might be able to fit into that same world, but it's totally and tonally different. It's more of like a gothic, macabre type thing that I've been working on the side. Like how I kind of plan stories. It's like I said, I love characters. It's all very thematic and character based. So I just have like a Google Doc sheet that has the title or the working title and then list of characters, descriptions, you know, personality, powers, and shit like that. So there is like a team that I do want to do one day that would be kind of like a ode to X-Men, darker though, and I think that would be fun.
Nice.
Kind of got to dabble in that a little bit, but yeah, I would like to do that one day. Cool.
Yeah, it's weird that the pace is strange because it's kind of slow. You know, it's like 10 years, and yeah, you can have a little stack of comics, but if like we could all like learn and grow and really make some masterpieces, if we could make like a stack of comics this tall in 10 years, that's what manga does. I'm like, how do they do it? They do black and white with assistance,
Right.
and they have the system, the like burned in fire. What do they call it? Like forged in fire to even get to that position where they really like. If you're not even getting the readers, then you get the boot or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a pretty kind of. In some ways, I like it, but yeah, it might. You know, I don't know how we do it or if it would screw us all over or whatever. But the other thing I think they kind of do is with art, they'll be like we might have talked about this, Ken or Phil, but I think in Japan, like they won't even talk about like art unless you can draw decent perspective and decent anatomy / almost like perfect. Like you have to do perfect perspective, perfect anatomy, then we can talk. And so a lot of people are still getting to that point, and they wouldn't even be let in the door in Japan or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's in Japan. It's very cutthroat, and I like the idea behind it just because it allows people to produce a massive amount of work in a short amount of time. But it's such a, like you said, like you're forged by fire, so it's such a health threatening process that a lot of people are starting to quit or give up early before they even really get off the ground.
That's true too.
We got a meme here.
Oh, sick. I'll pull it up.
The meme is ready. Thank you, Alex, for the super chat. He sent you a super chat saying his power went out twice.
Oh, wow.
But he posted the meme. Ken, every week, Alex in the chat here does a amazing meme based on the show, and he posted for us to gaze upon.
Dope.
Look at my salvage meme before I lose power. Is it on Twitter? Let me see. Yes, it must be.
Yeah, here, I'll share it.
Okay, yeah, you want to share it? I'll pull it up.
Let's see here.
Vaughn in the window.
That's funny.
Look at that. So in the Great Hall, we got your little comic version
cool.
up there. Let's see what's on the other side here.
Oh yeah, Air Rider. Nice.
Oh, nice.
That's your book?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. I saw someone dropping a link. Could people still buy that from like a site that you have?
Yeah, it's on Big Cartel. I think Alex put a link in there.
Okay, nice. Yeah, chat, definitely support Ken if you appreciate him hanging with us in the presentation and everything.
There's a Narnar there. Knowledge of the rules is treason.
I'm all dressed in red.
Look at me. I look slick. I feel like I'm contemplating my life choices in this. Gonna do with that gun.
That's funny.
Vaughn out the window is definitely making me laugh too.
Yeah.
Not him. God damn it, Vaughn. There's Jake. I feel like Irene's ignoring. everything.
She's just
We're
chilling
just
over
in
there.
deep thought about a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
What is Jake's mouth? What is? Did that happen?
He
Oh my God.
looks like he has vampire teeth in. So it's like
Yeah.
last Halloween or something.
Right.
Simpson body. Amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex. I'm sorry that your power is going out. I'm hearing a lot of people's power going out lately.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like storms. No, that's right here. There was storms. Now it's good weather. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. My internet was weird. It died a couple times last few days.
There it is, the creative block in a nutshell. Amazing. Thank
What
you,
about
Alex.
that Ken freeze frame? What's that from?
That's from my what is it? It's the art that I use on my Twitter profile, and
Oh,
then
okay.
it's just my
Nice.
face on it.
Nice.
I feel like you're gonna sell us something, you know, in
It
your
looks like I'm
jacket.
gonna sneeze or something.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Nice.
I feel like we've learned a lot. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice. So what we might do is might go ahead and get out of here. I'm still doing a little bit of just work that I have to stay up for. So if you guys want to hang out, we can chill back rooms too.
Cool.
But I'll end the
Nope.
stream.
Yeah, tomorrow, guys, don't forget, we're doing our show on Zade Comics channel, the Diaz Brothers. It's at 7:30 Eastern. We're gonna be launching Psycho Slumber. It's gonna be freaking awesome. We have a Rob Willis cover. You guys can head over to zadecomics.com, click on the Psycho Slumber button, and sign up. That sign up is going to get you discounts on the book. I'll show you guys the campaign page here. The beautiful Rob Willis cover.
Nice.
We got Krim here from the Lost Pages, Finch from the Kill Journal, and our new crazy horror slasher, Simon. We'll talk all about it tomorrow. Amazing art by Juan Gideon on the interiors. And it's going to be full colored, 60 pages, exploring the imagination and dreamscape with horror slasher characters. It's going to be so badass. And then, this will get you discounts if you're signed up on the website. So be there. It's going to be cool.
Nice. Yeah,
Dope.
it looks great. You know what I like? You named the bad guy Simon. That
Yeah.
like that name really fits. That's cool. That works.
Really awesome. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that.
Yeah. It's hard to name characters in some you know what one that's kind of hard to name is like an AI. Like in like an AI chick. Like in
Yeah.
Halo they call her Cortana or
Mhm.
Cortana. But that's a great AI name. There's a few others where you hear it and you're like, "Oh, that's great." The one in the video game Marathon, they call their AI Durandal, which is great. Like, so there's some weird names that you're like, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, I don't know why I named him Simon. Oh, there's actually kind of a like a narrative element that goes along with his name in here. But when I was putting the campaign together, I was typing like the synopsis, and then I'm like, ended the sentence with "the killer is Simon" or whatever, and then I just put "the slasher." So Simon the Slasher works with alliteration perfectly. So I'm like, that's pretty badass.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. So we're also doing a variant. There's going to be a special variant cover that will probably be put on the campaign later in the month. It's being worked on right now. So look out for that. And yeah, join us tomorrow. We'll be on Bancrofts after the Diaz Brothers as well. And we'll be giving away special sketch cards if you have already backed. So be there, spread the word. We want to make this as big as possible and try to beat our previous, day one funding on our last campaign.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Phil. That sounds like fun.
Thanks, bro.
And Ken, when you're launching your new book in October, you said part 3?
Yeah. I don't have any official stuff about it anyway, but in October.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have you back on then too to promote it or whatever. So,
Nope.
whether it's on Creative Block or just my channel, we'll do something.
Definitely,
Awesome.
yeah. Come on my
Appreciate
channel.
it.
Yeah. In
For
the
sure.
chat, thanks everyone. And yeah, so I'm going to just click end. I don't have an outro. So I'm going to click it.
Appreciate it.
And any second it's